Hey, what's going on, everybody? And thanks for joining us again. We're live, and welcome back to the Rethink Tank Live, the only place where pop culture, policy, and common sense get locked in a room and forced to duke it out. Tonight's lineup is a strange one. We're starting with Conformity Gate, a Stranger's Thing where this entire series that's taken over the world has managed to turn what should have been a cultural victory lap into a masterclass in how to alienate your own audience. We'll unpack how a show about outsiders somehow forgot what made it work in the first place. Then we're taking a hard left turn into the kitchen, the food pyramid, the thing we were taught to trust. Might be one of the greatest scams ever sold as science. We're flipping it upside down and asking who actually benefited for decades off of this terrible nutritional advice and why we're still paying the price. And before we get out of here, we're zooming out. The class divide of the future isn't about money, politics, ideology, or even class or race. It's about who can read, critically think, and process information, and who can't. And that gap is quietly becoming the most dangerous one of all. With that said, let's jump right into it. So our first topic is a bit of a inflammatory one, depending on where you are in the fandom. Some people just don't care about Stranger Things. Others have been in the trenches for the last couple weeks. So getting to Conformity Gate, the Stranger Things blunder of a lifetime. Let's just say the quiet part out loud. Conformity Gate didn't come out of nowhere. It was the final crack in a dam that had been leaking for years. Conformity Gate was an online conspiracy theory that the Stranger Things finale was not the actual finale. There was this belief across social media that a surprise mystery episode was going to be released days later as the actual finale to the story. Fans were breaking down background props and plot holes as an indication of this bonus episode that was supposedly coming. And Netflix's biggest mistake was leaning into these theories and gaslighting their fans as a way of promoting their Stranger Things documentary coming out. The Duffer Brothers didn't just fumble a finale. They confirmed a suspicion a lot of us fans had been tiptoeing around since season 3. That the mythology, the master plan, we've had this whole world mapped out from day one narrative was more marketing than manuscript. Because if this story was truly written in its entirety from the beginning, if every thread was intentional, every mystery purposeful, then what we just watched shouldn't have felt like a writer's room scrambling to land a plane with one engine on fire and Netflix yelling from the cockpit, "You better get those 6 episodes and wrap it up." And then came the documentary, which somehow made things worse. Instead of restoring confidence, it showed the Duffer Brothers openly admitting they began filming without ending the writing. No grand finale, no final thematic resolution, just vibes, pressure, and hope. That alone reframes years of interviews where fans were told this was all a carefully woven tapestry. What we got instead? Plot holes, abandoned arcs, emotional beats that felt unearned, characters acting out of alignment with the people we spent a decade getting to know, and a finale that felt less like a conclusion and more like a compliance exercise. Even the cast couldn't hide it. You didn't need insider leaks. You could see it in the interviews, body language, and carefully worded non-answers. And the audience's response has fully vindicated that discomfort. Fans didn't just dislike the ending, they felt betrayed by it. Now, here's where the internet did what it always does: connect the dots. There's been a lot of speculation around Ross Duffer's divorce from director Lee Janiak, a filmmaker in her own right, and whether her creative influence was more foundational to Stranger Things than ever publicly acknowledged. No one's claiming secret credits or courtroom confessions. But fans are noticing a tonal shift, a structural decline, a loss of cohesion that coincides with real-life changes behind the scenes. call it conspiracy if you want, but when a show loses its emotional compass, people start asking who was holding it in the first place. Season 4 left the audience on a massive high. Stakes were clear, momentum was real, expectations were earned, and then the final season somehow managed to undercut all of it by trying to please everyone, offend no one, and conform to the loudest, safest, most algorithm-approved version of itself. That's what Conformity Gate really is. Not a single decision, but the culmination of fear-based storytelling, fear of backlash, fear of the internet, fear of choosing an ending instead of crowdsourcing one. Because here's the brutal truth. You don't give the internet 10 years to imagine a better ending than you and then improvise yours at the finish line. The internet will always beat you every time. This wasn't just a bad finale. It was a case study in what happens when hype replaces craft, when mystery replaces planning, and when creators start believing their own PR more than their actual craft. And Stranger Things, it didn't end as a legend. Flip that upside down. It ended as forgettable. So let's kind of have a little bit of unfolding before we get into this deeper. Relax and have some fun. Entertain the people for a second. Here are some examples of Conformity Gate. And why I think it got so much momentum is because these had some actual legs to them. As somebody that I didn't see the finale, I got bored. This shit lost me halfway through the winter season this year. And to get prepared for this episode, man, I tried, but it's just it can't grab me. What I will say though, is I go to these people's videos and it's so compelling. It's like, you might be we'll find out. And in the window of time, that was a fun week. There's something, that's my takeaway from all this. Like, indulge in the creativity of the audience hive.
Things finale was all fake, and the real finale releases on January 7th. Vecna 1, the Conformity Gate theory is real, and I have compiled 34 pieces of evidence to back this up. First reason is because everyone in the crowd at graduation is holding their hands like Henry, the same way Billy did when he was under his control. Apparently Steve is now a baseball coach, even though the only sport we ever saw him play was basketball. That's because in Vecna's memory, he sees Steve with a baseball bat. By the same logic, that's why Jim Hopper is now once again the chief of police, because that's Vecna's memory, even though he's killed about 100 soldiers and definitely shouldn't have that job. Nancy, Karen Wheeler, and a bunch of other characters all have the same hair as Henry Creel. And if you look in the background, a bunch of people in the crowd aren't even watching the ceremony, they're staring directly into the camera at us. We are in Hawkins, we are in the show. This cameraman has a camera pointed at us, and his shirt even says Duffers. Throughout the ceremony, behind every one of the main characters on their left shoulder, there's someone wearing the same glasses as Henry Creel. The same way that Henry was present over Will's shoulder in season 4, the same way behind all of the young kids it says "What's it" in the basement at the end of the show. It's established in this season that the color grey equals a mistake in the memory, which would explain why Dustin...
That one was convincing to me. I saw that one 100 times, and you'll
Hellfire
see,
shirt was
see it
grey
come up
because
again.
it is a mistake in a memory and not the normal white and red. Also explains why the color of this dial changed. The original color was red, and in the fake memory it's once again grey, the fake memory color. All of the graduation robes were meant to be green, the color of the school, and we know this because Ted has the manual with the green cap right there, but they're orange because that represents prisoners that are trapped. At the dinner scene at the end, singing the love song is Patty Newby. Who's that? It's Henry Creel's love interest from high school, who was in the stage play which is canon to Stranger Things, and he's the only person that could know this. At the end of the show, Mike is a complete mirror of Henry Creel. The same position, same jawline, same hair, same glasses. The end of the show has the books lined up like this, but on social media
This
it was
is a big one.
like this. X, a lie. Dimension X was all a lie. The ending of the show has Mike walking up the stairs and through the door, just like the ending of The Truman Show, which is a movie about viewers watching a fake reality. On a whiteboard that was teased for this season, they scribbled out Truman Show as inspiration. And if you look deeper into it, there's a lot of Truman Show parallels in this season. Behind the kids in the basement, there's a poster of The Thing, another piece of media all about fake reality. At the very end of the show, we see the book close and the number 7 on the dice. Last time they rolled a 7 was when they lost their first campaign in episode 1. Rolling a 7 means you lost. 7's an important number because that's how many days it was taken for Will to be found. 7 days after the season finale is January 7th, the same day that Netflix teased what's next. When Will is coming out, he said that he likes getting lost in the woods. He would never say that because the last time he got lost in the woods, he got abducted into the Upside Down. He also said he liked getting milkshakes at Melvald's. Melvald's in his time is a general store, but when Henry Creel was at school in the play, Melvald's done milkshake. This is Henry's memory again. Vicky does not exist in that epilogue. Why? Because Vecna never met Vicky. He doesn't even know who she is. Robin even says it on the radio right there. This is not the Hawkins she remembers and it feels different. Early in the epilogue, we see Karen Wheeler with her brand new scars, but then at the end she has no scars. There's so many inconsistencies. Max even makes a meta joke about the ending being stupid. At the end of every season in the credits, it pops up with the number, but it didn't in season 5. It's not the end. Even in the marketing for this torch, in Morse code it says Vecna lives, and in luminescent light it says Vecna lives. If you go on Netflix and you type in season 5 episode 9, it shows up Stranger Things. If you type in fake ending, it shows up Stranger Things. And if you type in Conformity Gate, it shows up Stranger Things. Someone had to make that all happen. And in an Instagram Q&A, the Duffers literally said they lied to us and there's one thing they can't talk about yet.
So again, it's a culmination of things. This was just a lot. This was a
culmination of a couple things.
But it's the bigger picture of like how these things continue to layer on each other. And it's kind of just getting caught up in the momentum of the time. It's a week where that's all my algorithm is putting on my feed. And it's fun. You know it's not going to happen. And really what makes it even more fun is seeing something like this where it's like, go for 4 more minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Just so you could be disappointed in 4 days and nothing happens. So while that one was a lot and ridiculous, this one I felt was a lot more compelling.
The most convincing evidence yet. Bet you thought we were done. Nope, I got one more for you. And I can't post this tomorrow. So if you remember in season 3, Max is playing Dig Dug. And in that game, you dig tunnels, which is a reference to the tunnels being dug under Hawkins that season. And this is considered canon. Now fast forward to season 5, Derek is playing Ghouls and Goblins. Many have pointed out there's a minor blooper with the fact that he's playing this game. But there is a very specific reason why this game was chosen. This game has a cruel twist at the end. After you defeat the final boss, you're told the entire game was a dream or an illusion, and that you must replay the entire game again but on a much harder difficulty to get the true ending. I mean, come on. And the way it's been pointed out in previous episodes, the way to see through Henry's lies is to look for inconsistencies. Many have pointed out the color change in this dial going from red to gray. Also the merry-go-round that Holly is on going from yellow to gray. And even Dustin's shirt upon graduation being gray. Also there's this Duffer's cameraman who seems to be recording us and not the graduation. And then there's been the inconsistencies in the writing this last season that is very unlike the Duffers. And their explanations leave more question marks than they answer. Oh, we just didn't think of that. Or, oh, that happened off camera. That's not like them. Where's the quoted twist? Where's the quoted traitor? And all the characters at the end of the episode in their D&D campaign saying that this was just too happy. Nothing happened? Like I said, I'm Joyce with the lights.
It literally, Joyce with the lights through this whole week. I'm getting more and more just like,
I think they're just trying to talk to you.
Through the lights.
Mom.
I know. Just
was
watch.
good.
exactly, back when it was good.
Dude, they couldn't have picked a worse week to do this release. It's the week where everybody's home for the holidays. They have nothing else to do.
And boy, have they broken down every inch of that.
Broken it down.
Every frame.
I kind of feel bad for these people. In a certain way. They're dedicated fans, I'll give them that.
Oh, these people, sure.
No, yes. These
I thought you were talking about the Duffer brothers.
Oh, I don't
Because I'm about to go in on those
I
guys.
couldn't care. They made their money. They made their product. People liked it. People didn't like it. It's whatever. But these conformity gay people, and they were gaslit. I'm going to come to their defense.
Oh, yeah. Netflix capitalized on this to the nth degree.
Right. And I don't know if the Duffer Brothers anticipated Netflix to do that. They might have. They may have been on it too for the documentary. So
The problem is when you allow for the public to fantasize all these other great cherry on tops that not only supersede your cherry on top, but build off of it. So when there's nothing that springboards off of it and what you thought was like a foundation to the finale is the finale, you've just created even more like disappointment. And the reason why I thought that last one was the most compelling is I love Dig Dug, and so I love that angle where Dustin uses Dig Dug and the Dragon's Lair, like games that he's played in the past, he's used as like an indicator on how to dominate that season or win that season or whatever. Because it was a different game each season. Well, to have Ghosts and Goblins have this unique angle where you finish and it tells you thought you finished, but you really didn't. And to really win, you have to go and do this all again at a harder level. Do you understand how brilliant it would have been? Would have been. Not it, but could have been. And boy, Netflix is like swallowing double barrels, knowing this could have been the case. If you would have taken all of the trashed edits and cut scenes, because there was a lot that they didn't use, and maybe if you had more foresight and you weren't scrambling for an entire documentary's worth of filming the last season, then you could have planned for going back and reinserting all this footage, and I would have padded each episode like an additional 4 or 5 more secret minutes. And now all these assholes got to go back and rewatch the entire series.
Yeah.
That would have been brilliant.
It's the definition. It's up there with Game of Thrones in terms of a PR disaster after the fact. It's because I remember Game of Thrones had a petition after it came out. Like it had over 1 million signers.
It got like 2 million, man.
Yeah, it got like 2 million people asking to literally redo the entire last season. So I don't like coming to their defense. They made their product. It is what it is.
Yeah, I wouldn't make their defense just yet. We've got a whole lot more to come out.
I mean, my defense on it isn't going to change. They made the product. It is what it is. You either like it
Sure.
or didn't like it.
All right, so we'll keep with that position. So then moving on then, it is funny. After it all comes out, people have their theories and everything else, but the Duffer Brothers had a response to Conformity Gate.
Response to Conformity Gate, the Duffer Brothers have come out with a statement. E-News published a story just yesterday, so this is very relevant and new. They asked the Duffer Brothers if they would ever consider bringing back some of the cast and adding more to the story. And they said, never say never. I will say lines like this, all of these companies that were capitalizing on Conformity Gate are a little frustrating because it is what was fueling on the conspiracy theory. But they continue to say, in 20 years, if we're broke and need some money, it's our safety net. I don't know why, but for some reason, that quote is just really not sitting right with me. I think the idea that it's not that the Duffer Brothers will have more to add to the story. It's not missing the people that they've worked with for 10 years. It's not listening to the fans and ultimately reflecting, even to edit some things that they've messed up. It's cool to be like, I made a mistake and now I'm gonna fix it. But the idea that they'll need it for money, that just felt cheap to me. So maybe I'm taking it too far out of context. Perhaps you take it a little differently. I'd love to talk about it in the comment section. Let me know what your thoughts are in this quote. And did it sit right with you, or does this?
So I'm assuming you don't find any problem with creating these types of media, not for the inspiration of it, but just to catch your bag.
Well, real quick before Will goes, because he's actually watched Stranger Things, that quote alone really makes me hate them. I have zero investment, but to hear him go, well, it's our safety net. So it's like, so you intentionally plan these plot holes then? Like you didn't want to give us
No. It wasn't
closure?
intentional. It was, we're going to capitalize on those
Yeah.
holes.
I hate that. But
Dude, they made their product. People didn't like it.
Right.
The hubris.
Wait. We can detach from that. I've heard that point. Now I want to talk about, what do you think about a creator that isn't creating it for the inspiration of it, but is creating it solely to catch their bag?
I don't think they were doing that. I think people were accusing them of doing that. I think they made what they wanted to make. And then afterwards, you had the Stranger Things fandom go, oh, we didn't like it. There's so many plot holes. And you could tell at this point, if they looked at them and said, you make something, I'd be.
And they do a damn good job. I think probably a better job.
Yeah.
I think they would. I think give it to anybody and they do a better job.
And they can do it.
Exactly.
They can go and do it. You know, I'm so glad social media wasn't around when The Sopranos ending came out, because it would have melted Twitter's brain. Those people, those media illiterate people would have been like, what happened here? They would have been freaking out. And you haven't seen the ending, and I'm not going to spoil it. But when it happened, I think it was magnificent. But initially, so many people were pissed off. Like initially, so many people were pissed off.
So if this is akin to that, and again, there's this superiority where the plebes just don't get it. So what is it that made this one so palatable, so justifiable?
This ending, I'm not saying it's justifiable. I didn't hate the ending, how these
Right.
people are, where I'm going, oh, this one is gray and now it's red and all that. It's just like,
Wait, that's different than having like not liking the ending. Is
Right.
different than getting caught up in a media hysteria where people were having fun going down the rabbit. You got to admit, probably 60% of the people that indulged in this did know that it was probably going nowhere, which is also what enhanced the fun of it because it was such a deflated ending. So it isn't the same because I've spoken to you before. You do believe that the end of The Sopranos was magnificent. So it isn't a fair comparison unless you actually do believe this ending was also magnificent.
okay, I'll compare Game of Thrones. I think Game of Thrones was an absolutely bigger disaster than what this ending was. I think on so many levels. Those guys literally did it for the bag. Those guys literally were given a bag promised to them by Disney to do these other projects, and they literally phoned it in. I have no idea if these guys even have any other projects. Maybe some Stranger Things related. I've heard of some like stage play. They have like an animated show coming out, I guess, later in the year that's supposed to happen between like season 2 or 3 or 3 and 4. I don't know. But I don't view this as I think they rushed it. I just think ultimately they're just okay writers that kind of struck gold early on, and people kind of put Stranger Things on this pedestal that I never quite understood because everyone that has seen Stranger Things always unanimously just about says season 1 was the best season. So I didn't view it as a show that continuously got better.
Right.
They got fortunate that season 4 was huge with people, that they felt season 5 is going to be better. And it's okay. At this point, they're batting 500 in their seasons. So I'm not looking at it like it's been a magnificent, marvelous show throughout this entirety of the thing. I think they took the wrong approach when making the show, where they did substance over, I'm trying to think of it the way I want to word it. Style over substance. They went for style over substance rather than I would have gone the substance route, kept the story smaller, more compact, really around the original characters that were there to begin with. And they didn't. They made it this whole other thing. I don't view this as people who rushed this show.
So real quick, put a pin in that because that's why I keep saying there's a lot there. I got a lot more to go through.
I know.
So with that being considered, have you seen the documentary?
No, I didn't
Right.
care to
That's
see
that. Well, exactly. That's going to be a major piece of the development here. So let's take a breath. Let's slow things down and let's
Dude,
roll.
I'm not getting heated like I'm mad about this. I'm mystified by this fan base. And you're not one of them. You're not like the Conformity.
I know, but you're approaching something that should just be a fun topic, which I was worried about with this position of superiority. Like these people aren't grubs. What are you coming in? Have you been on a studio? No. What makes you consume just like they do? This is a medium that is measured by the masses. Mm-hmm. So you can have your own independent special take on all of this, but a lot of this gets measured based on like, is this a good product? If your whole position is to be the product. How do we evaluate a good product? Are these M&Ms good? They just put mayonnaise in the middle. Well, if no one's buying them, they're bad mayonnaise. Kemp can love them till he's pink in the face. They're bad M&Ms as long as no one's buying them or the majority aren't. So the key that I want to get to about all of this is, as I scripted it all, it's a culmination of a lot of problems. Right. This was a bad story with bad writing, and then it let everybody down because you put all of the marketing into it. The hype was at its highest. Season 4, we both agree, was their pinnacle. You've left all of what made it great hanging. You can't just leave season 4 with Hawkins on fire and then just touch none of that.
Well, I agree. I'm not.
So the documentary, then everybody gets hyped. You know, they're sending it like just you and I get hyped in other content, sending to each other like, did you see what this guy said? They snowball this thing, and then 4 days later they're like, this thing's really got some legs on it. For it all to build up to the documentary, which Now, I know you will. I couldn't implore you more to go watch it. I think the clips I've pulled for you will do enough and will do it justice, but it's a documentary of all of them scrambling the entire time because none of it's written, and the whole state, everybody's just giving each other looks like, what the fuck are we doing? And they can't explain the upside down. They're trying to like they're like, I don't know. So to kind of just leapfrog right into that, this is the tone of the whole documentary. It really just says it all.
Very interesting day. We are shooting episode 8, which isn't completely written yet. Spoiler alert. So we don't even fully know what's going on.
Yeah. So $1 million set, $100 million. And well, we're standing here with all the staff and the set's built. We don't even know where we're going with this.
So I immediately go into Jedi level, rigorous problem solving mode. Okay, I'm going to shoot this angle. I'm going to hold this so I can solve this problem. And then if I put them together and that's all the audience sees, the audience will never know that we failed today.
They will know you failed today, and it came out clear. And then on top of it, this will probably be the most iconic part for the whole documentary that just icing on the cake says it all.
There has to be some monsters in the abyss.
I agree.
There has to be Demogorgon, bat, dog, like something. It's crazy if there's nothing.
It's almost like you knew it. It's almost like you knew it. So then when you see scenes like this where Elle and Mike, this is it. We are wrapping. We are done filming. That's a wrap, guys. We've had you since you were 8 years old. We've built an entire life around this. Cheers. Our in-house studio was more hyped than the people on the set. Look at the face they make at each other. And I wish I could have it, but the music. That's it. She refuses to clap. So it doesn't reflect well when you're totally scrambling and you have no idea what you want. Like, what makes a great film, say or hate whatever you want about Quentin Tarantino, what makes his select few always deliver, whether you like the story, the actors, whatever, there's always going to be a cult following behind it because it's a passion project. He's got the money now, dude. He's doing it because he needs to do it. Then I got these guys.
We got most of it figured out, but some details we do forget. Obviously, we forgot Will's birthday, so things do slip through the
Why are you
cracks.
bringing that back?
I don't know.
Let's put that in the past.
All right, we can cut that out. But no,
can we?
Do you sometimes not even hit the answers yourself?
And there was a divorce.
Yes. So I'm glad you bring that up. I want to go to, it's again, Nicolette Hill. She does a great job of reporting the situation surrounding one of the Duffer brothers and his wife.
I say it, but I think that as an English teacher who stands by the fact that F. Scott Fitzgerald absolutely hijacked his wife's work, put his name on it. I mean, in my 14 years as a teacher, I have seen students hijack other students' work and put their names on. I am confident that part of the problem with season 5 of Stranger Things is that Ross Duffer got a divorce. Her name is Lee. I'm going to butcher her last name. I'll just put it here. But she also is the director of Fear Street. And for the record, my students are obsessed with Fear Street books, with Fear Street movies. This is good, right?
Those are huge.
She was able in seasons 1 through 4 to help write the show. And I'm just going to say, if you're looking for where did this fall off, I think that there's a lot of reasons, but maybe this might be the cornerstone reason. I think that maybe she's the brains behind the operation. It was almost like making a recipe and leaving one ingredient out. There was just something missing for me as someone who has watched this show for 10 years. It's looking for foreshadowing and irony and all of these things to come back into play later, and then just not having that come to fruition. Shout out to Ross Duffer's ex-wife, Lee. Good for you, girl. Excited to see what you do next.
I got one last clip for you, and then I'll give you the floor. I have a gentleman here, Long Myrle.
Conformity Gate didn't happen, and now everyone's trying to figure out who is to blame. Could it be that the show set a precedent that every small detail means something? Is Netflix at fault for leaning into the theories to drive engagement, or do the Duffers purposely write an ending with loose ends? Real culprit is redirecting circular storytelling that has 8 steps. Step 1, you're introduced to a character, and step 2 is something they desire. 11, wanting a normal life, or the characters wanting to find Will so everything can go back to normal, which forces them to go across a threshold. Step 4, they come across a series of trials looking for something. Step 5, they find it, and step 6, they take it, returning back where the story started but is now changed forever. This is a proven model rooted in psychology that the Duffers followed to a T seasons 1 through 4. However, they deviated from it in 5 the same way Star Wars Episode 9 does. JJ wanted that movie to be the most Star Wars movie as ever Star Wars. Why is Palpatine back? Because he's Star Wars. How is Han Solo in this movie? He's Star Wars, and he better say the line, "I know." What this does is it no longer feels like the story is going this way, but instead it's doing this, turning the final movie or season into a best hits album where it's become nostalgic for itself. Why did we get another fake out Hopper death moment? Because that's Stranger Things. Why do we have 7 different scenes where characters formulate a plan with inanimate objects? Because that's Stranger Things. Yeah. And why was the most interesting character sidelined in her own show only to be wrote out of it? According to the Duffers, that's Stranger Things. They said she represents childhood magic, and with their childhood now over, she's no longer needed. Translation, Elle was never a character to them. She was a MacGuffin, a plot device to push everyone forward but herself. Ironically, this is a trope that exists in 80s movies where the female exists in service to the male to prop him up. Their art gets fully realized, and hers does not. What made Stranger Things unique was subverting these tropes, like taking the stereotypical bully and revealing he's actually a great guy, or having gay people accepted when they were shunned in the 80s. And this is why Conformity Gate exists at all, because it's a very hard pill to swallow that in the year of our Lord, this trope is still happening to the female lead. That's why people so passionately still want to believe. Because having your final season of Stranger Things be the most Stranger Things has ever Stranger Thinged, frankly, isn't very strange at all.
I'm just disappointed no one ever said the word Stranger Things, or like I haven't seen anything stranger.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's kind of that. But no, I mean, he made the good comparison comparing it to like the last Star Wars movie where it's a disaster. I feel like after all this, I think I was the only one who saw this coming. I just was like,
that's the truth. That's why I think that is the crux of what I think birthed this whole thing.
Right.
Is that no one saw this coming, mainly because the audience is half our age.
Right.
So this is their first like big, I mean, imagine Harry Potter ended fantastically, right? That was our blessing.
Yeah.
We got our youthful ones that we aged with ended perfectly.
Yeah, but it was all written out.
Boom. It was planned. It was a passion project.
When they said years ago, we already know what the last scene is, I immediately, that was literally the only thing I was looking forward to in the show. Because I knew, I was like, this is the only thing they have planned. They don't have anything else planned.
And then you see the documentary.
That's why when I'm watching and I'm seeing all this reaction, it's like, I don't mean to get defensive of them. I've always kind of looked at people and been like, I don't think they're that good of writers. I think they plagiarized, which is a big controversy around the first season.
Bingo.
And which is, again, I'd look at people that they love Stranger Things. And I get it. I'm the only one here who watched the whole damn thing. Like I said, for every minute, I understood it. Everybody's always, season 1's the best. And then season 4 is really good. And I'm like, okay, so they have a 50% hit mark. And by the end of season 3, they lost so much of the audience, to which I had to convince him to watch season 4. I was like, this is actually really good.
And it was awesome. You got me right back in it, dude.
It felt like old Stranger Things, where it's kind of grimy, it's kind of grungy. There's more stakes. Like season 3 Stranger Things, people love, and it's Fat Hopper being goofy dad. He was a grizzled detective in season 1. Like there's no good character arcs by then. So again, for me, none of this shocked me. That I honestly watched the last episode last night for 2 reasons. One, Ohio State was losing to Miami. So I genuinely put it on my phone. I was like, I need to enjoy my night somewhat. I'm going to watch a train wreck. I'm going to watch a more enjoyable train wreck, in my opinion, rather than watching the Buckeyes lose. And I turn it on, and it's like I've told everyone, the first hour, 20 minutes, when it's the finale of the story, before they do the 40-minute epilogue, which is the only part of it I enjoyed. Because the first hour, 20 minutes, it's essentially everything that guy said about the circle going backwards was the last hour, 20 minutes. Like, all right, I get it. You know, no Demogorgons, no Demodogs, no Demobats, but big giant monster felt like Star Wars Episode 9. I think for me, my expectations were so low, whereas for everyone else, like you said, everybody else was up here. And for me, once we hit the halfway mark of the season, I was like, mine are down here. This is bad. This is going to be real bad. And then the next 3 episodes hit, and then it ended with I don't like girls. And I was like, it's even lower. It's lower than I thought, but it's still, I knew it was going to be bad. And then the last bit came out, and I was like, it was bad, but it won me in the last 40 minutes. Because for me, I realized in those last 40 minutes that the Duffer Brothers, for all the flaws, and I'm sure the documentary shows about them, they definitely knew what the last scene of it was going to be, and it's them playing Dungeons and Dragons again. The irony is you want to look at them and be, you lost that Dungeons and Dragons thing probably 2 seasons ago. Because if you want to point out plot holes, I could go to season 4 and point out all the plot holes I want. I just enjoyed it because it was still moderately good.
So I got to ask you, because this was going to be, that kind of cuts one of the philosophical inquiries I was going to have from you that your point raised. So having not seen the ending, and this isn't going to give any spoilers. No, it's ending with Dungeons and Dragons, but that's neither here nor there. We're not going to give more than that. Do you believe the Duffer Brothers, when I'm insinuating from what you said, you do believe them that when they said they knew what the ending was going to be, that was it?
Yes, 100%. That last scene, the way it was filmed, and again, it's just the kids playing one more game of Dungeons and Dragons in their basement. So it's literally a cyclical thing. It started off with them playing Dungeons and Dragons, and it ends with them Dungeons and Dragons. When they said that, though, and people took it too seriously, they took it as, oh, they have literally this entire story mapped out. And I took it as, I don't think they expected this to go past season 1. Netflix really liked it. And then comes the money train. And then comes bringing these kids back. That's why season 2 is season 1 with Joe Stum a little over. And then season 3 is but now they're getting in little high school romances. And then season 4 was going, oh yeah, remember how season 1 was? Let's kind of do that again and make it scary. And that's what won people back. But then season 5 was, okay, the stakes are, I know how this goes. I've seen Star Wars. Not old Star Wars, new Star Wars. The stakes got to be bigger. There's got to be more explosions and more fire. The idea that the military comes back after season 4 as a serious villain, not just like they should have had the military be like a placeholder, because clearly the military would show up if a situation at the end of season 4 happened. The military would just be there. But the fact that season 5, had essentially Dr. Brenner, but now a new character, was just dumb. I look at that. It's bringing Palpatine back. What are you doing? That's done. Just have the military sort of be there, but then just have the kids kind of go into the upside down like they used to do and do it methodically. They didn't do. Why? You got to make it bigger. You got to make it bigger. But when you make it bigger, that's when the plot holes come in, because that's when people are going to start, hey, that doesn't add up. That doesn't look right. This isn't, how did that happen? Where's this character? And what's their, they got rid of the character arcs and just made it more bigger in terms of, like I said, it's style over substance. The problem is this style is whatever. I could point at Star Wars Episode 9, and you can go watch that, and it's the most Star Wars you've ever seen. It doesn't mean it's good. You remove the substance. Why do people like season 4? Well, there was substance in it. You cared about Eddie. You cared about Robin. You cared about all these characters. They pushed them all on the side, bringing these new kids, and literally they brought in the new kids strictly to service the final scene. Right. Literally strictly to service the final scene, like the passing of the torch. I don't care. I don't care about these kids. They're fine. Why are they here?
Right. I'm not emotionally invested over them or in them over a decade.
But for me, it didn't shock me, because I kind of looked at these guys like frauds, like the 2 guys that made Game of Thrones once it got off book script. They don't have an idea what to do. And then the only kudos I give those 2 idiots right there is I don't think they did this for the bag. I genuinely think they made this product. And like you said, you see the actors, they don't look thrilled, but they're high-fiving because they're like, we did it. We made it. We finished this thing. I genuinely think they kind of had that interpretation of it internalized themselves. There is no 2 people in this world more shocked by the response than these 2. I know I can't believe they hate it. I can't believe they hate it. And then you have someone like me go, I thought it was fine. Like, I'd be the only one to be like, I thought it was fine. I think you guys are kind of hacks, but hey, you did the damn thing. You made it. You're not Vince Gilligan. You're not David Chase, who wrote The Sopranos. You're those two guys that did Game of Thrones, and your career's over, but you made the bag. And in 20 years, no one's gonna care, and it is what it is.
Here's what I do believe. I don't know the names of the writers that totally
like Dave and Dan or something like that.
I wouldn't know who messed them up, but I know they messed it up way worse. They messed up Game of Thrones way worse. What I do think about modern social media and especially Gen Z, that name, the Duffer Brothers, they're the new Nickelback of directors.
Right, yeah.
That name ain't going away.
And it's not even just directing, it's just writing. That's the biggest problem.
Yeah, sorry.
It's writing. If like you could be a great writer,
no, you're right.
Like pretty a half-ass director, and you can kind of get away with it because the story's good. Because the story's good, people will forgive kind of the framing of shots like that. No, you guys screwed it up in both, and I understand like the divorce thing plays a part into it.
Okay, so I do want to get to that.
Wait,
yeah, okay,
quick,
you go,
like,
and then I want to.
Will's talking about like, okay, like they're writing. Was Vince Gilligan a Breaking Bad writer and director?
Yes, 100%.
He directed it also.
He didn't direct the entire show, but he was
right because Breaking Bad did have
amazing.
They have a various director, like Bryan Cranston directed a few episodes.
Yep,
but he wrote everything, and he was on set for everything,
and he was amazing.
Yes,
that show ended amazingly.
But again, David Chase, just real quick before you get into your point, David Chase was the same as like The Sopranos. He wrote the whole thing. He didn't direct every episode. He directed.
You don't have to. When you put the guardrails
I mean.
on your, it's the story's there.
That's what I mean, and that's the thing with these two, and that's why for me, none of this was shocking. That's why I was more shocked with the reaction by people. And again, I get it. You have dedicated fans and stuff, but the whole like, oh, there's definitely going to be another episode. It's guys, these guys. I know these two finished this and thought, man, we're up there with David Chase and Vince Gilligan. Like they really, I know the delusion. I could hear it when I've seen them in interviews. They really felt
they believe it.
And the actors, you could see it in their body languages and faces and stuff like that. And I attribute that to two things. One, the product, and two,
they're older.
It's not even just older. They want to do other projects.
Right. They're beyond it.
Joe Keery wants to go and do his music now. Finn Wolfhard already came and he's like, I'm going to be involved in more IT projects. The only one who I don't know of any project she's going to be in, but I know she's going to get is Millie Bobby Brown.
Right.
She's the only one. But like these kids, it's like they're at an impasse.
Bobby something Bon Jovi.
Good for her. That's amazing.
Millie Bon Jovi.
I'm happy for her. But that's so you could get into your point now. But
Millie
that was
Bobby.
my thing with these two. I went in, and that's why my reaction, again, it's not even defensive. It's just more, I guess I just watched it enough to where it's like, guys, I just don't see these guys as these elite writers. And again, I understand the audience is younger, and that's why they're so passionate about it. And I feel bad for them in a sense. Watched them for an entire week get gaslit into a documentary about how bad it is. I can't imagine that rug pull coming out from underneath you. But it was something to behold online where it's, ooh, my first thought was seriously The Sopranos ending. I'm like, I'm so thankful that didn't come out now because it would have melted their brains.
So you had raised 20 iterations ago how there was a claim against the Duffer Brothers for plagiarizing the first season, which everything about this story tells me that probably, again, all alleged, none of it's true. But the way this thing now played out, if the only saving grace was season one, that's the rock bed, and it's the only thing that is the true blood that makes this even worth your time, and was created in such a way that it could be a capsule in and of itself. It could literally be the end of the story, and you're totally content. And you go, wow, that was a goodie. Thank goodness they didn't ruin it. Then Netflix comes with $1 bazillion, and, carrot at the end of the stick compels you to create more. And you're like, well, brother, looks like it's me and you this time. I can't remember her name, but there was the lady who was claiming to have The Matrix plagiarized from her, and we were going to interview her on the show, and it was like, oh, no, this lady's just crazy.
Oh, right.
And she's huge online, but she's legitimately crazy. And I kind of just assumed that that's probably what this person is. They're claiming and we all could kind of come up with similar stories in our own corners, and they share similar themes, and we did it independently of each other too. But I kind of thought this is one of those where you didn't really get plagiarized. But then it's two brothers going, all right, now it's ours. We're going to take that baton and run. And season 2 is so off the path of the first season. A totally different story, a different tone, an attitude, everything about it. And you're like, was that you? And then season 3, you're like, but I'm getting better. And then season 4, it feels like you got a front row seat to a wife who's got 7 Netflix bangers that are just raking cash. And she clearly has the silver pen.
She understood the bread and butter of what made the first season
Yes.
special.
And storytelling.
Right.
Like she could create a story of her own, just take the baton and run. And she could be creative in a way that captivates. Then they get a divorce. And this is so bad that this was all conjecture. I put all of that narrative to a timeline that has exclaimed none of it. That the divorce had any impact, that she was a ghostwriter, that this first season was stolen. But the way each season is hit or miss and so unattached from each other that you couldn't use it in a courtroom. As somebody that went to a law school could tell you what would have what evidence could actually be used and what would bring weight. Couldn't touch a courtroom, but I think the most compelling piece of evidence is the experience itself. That up the roller coaster waves, all coinciding with a timeline that just hints to the fact that it probably wasn't you behind that typewriter.
Yeah, and that's essentially the response I had after season 2 and 3. I don't think these guys are that individually talented as writers. They can make a serviceable show. And that's kind of how I viewed it up until season 4. And then again, ghostwriter, nobody really knew of the divorce. And then after I heard that, it was, it's all right, these two again. Oh, I know what's coming.
Yep.
Like I just knew what's coming. For younger kids, probably not. But I think for them, it was, like you said, it was this grand adventure kind of thing for them, this mystical story, this true Dungeons and Dragons thing. And I think for us as jaded adults, we just sort of see it as, oh no, some people got it and some people don't. These guys are batting 500. And when I heard about the ghostwriter was a pinch hitter for one of the seasons, I completely lost faith. And I was more interested to see how they were going to land this crashing plane. And it was fine for me. Like, it was fine.
No, that's great. Great way to wrap up the whole topic too. Last piece I have for us before we totally depart from it is I do want to address, there's one last thing that the Duffer Brothers did to just damn their reputation as they closed the door on this chapter. And it's that they almost were there was almost severe injury or death resulting from their actions.
Crazy. The Duffer Brothers' poor writing of Stranger Things Season 5 almost ended this woman's life. One of the best scenes in Season 4 was Max talking to her mom. And it would make sense since they only have each other, she would visit Max in the hospital. But we didn't see her, she wasn't mentioned, and it's almost like she didn't even exist. Besides it just not making sense in the story, it turns out there was a big controversy behind the scenes with the actress. Jennifer Marshall played Susan Hargrove, and during the shooting of Season 4, she was battling cancer. She thankfully went into remission in 2023, just when Stranger Things 5 was going to begin filming, and the Duffer Brothers didn't call her up. She went to Instagram and explained how much she needed to be in Season 5, even if it was for one single scene. She said shooting would have helped her obtain her health insurance, which would have paid for everything. She even joked about what kind of mother isn't there for her child when she's in the hospital, because it's such a dumb plot hole. If the Duffer Brothers just included Max's mom, it would have done these two amazing things. First, it would have easily solved one of the final season's many plot holes, and second, it would have helped a struggling actress survive who gave the Duffers an amazing performance while battling a life-threatening disease. Let me know, does this make you think less of the Duffer Brothers, or do you think they just didn't know how important this was?
I don't think anybody really thinks much of the Duffer Brothers at this point.
Right.
So now just kind of burying on the hill. But again, it goes back to the inability. I mean, do you think it would have been better off if they killed off Max at the end of season 4? It's one less plot hole. Right. That's kind of the problem I've always had with this entire show is their inability to remove characters from the show. So if you're not removing anything from the show, that they don't just go away. You can't just remove them altogether. You got to do something with them.
That wasn't a problem Game of Thrones had. They killed everybody.
That clip came from Dylan Price. And so I conclude the whole thing with, love it or hate it, however you feel about it. This was my entire experience.
Went from happy to angry. Skip said, now I feel like kicking his ass.
That's a good one. That's a good one. What
So-
was the hashtag on that? Divorcegate?
Divorcegate. At the end of the day, Conformity Gate isn't really about a single scene, a single choice, or even a single season. It's about what happens when hype outpaces honesty, when creators start believing their own mythology more than they believe in the work itself. Stranger Things didn't collapse because the fans were too demanding. It collapsed because expectations were inflated by years of promises that the story was already complete, already solved, already earned. When you tell people you have a master plan, you don't get credit for improvisation. You get judged on execution. And that's the hard truth here. This finale exposed the difference between storytellers who build worlds and storytellers who ride momentum, between writers who know where they're going and writers who hope they'll figure it out before the clock runs out. Conformity Gate is what happens when a show stops taking creative risks and starts managing optics, when it trades conviction for consensus, when it tries to be everything to everyone and ends up meaning very little to anyone. The lesson isn't just for Netflix, it's for Hollywood, for streaming, for every creator living in fear of backlash and trusting algorithms more than instinct. The audience can smell fear, and once they do, the illusion breaks. You can't crowdsource courage, you can't workshop soul, and you can't improvise a decade-long story at the finish line and expect applause. Stranger Things will be remembered, but not just for what it was at its peak. It'll be remembered as the moment people realize that manufactured genius has an expiration date. And Conformity Gate taught us, if Conformity Gate taught us anything, it's that the internet doesn't kill stories. Weak endings do. Now, let's get to maybe not a weak ending, but maybe an even greater new beginning. Let me introduce you to the new food pyramid, flipping the food pyramid on its head. For decades, we were handed the food pyramid like it was carved into stone tablets. Grains at the bottom, fats demonized, the sugar quietly sneaking in through the back door, sitting right on top, all stamped with the word science, so we wouldn't ask questions. And most of us didn't. We trusted it. We built school lunches around it. Hospitals followed it, government programs enforced it, and somehow, in the same window of time, obesity, diabetes, autoimmune disease, and metabolic disorders absolutely exploded. So tonight, we're flipping the food pyramid on its head and asking a very uncomfortable question: who actually benefited from the advice? Because it surely wasn't the public. The original pyramid pushed cheap, shelf-stable carbohydrates to the foundation of our diets: bread, cereal, pasta, rice, foods that are easy to subsidize, easy to mass produce, and very profitable for the industry of agriculture and food conglomerates. Meanwhile, nutrient-dense foods like meat, eggs, butter, and whole fats were treated like villains. Fat made you fat. Cholesterol would kill you. And sugar? Well, somehow that got a pass. We prioritized goy slop for financial gain and domestic terrorism. The result wasn't better health, it was dependence. Ultra-processed foods took over, low fat became code for loaded with sugar, and an entire generation was raised eating in a way that keeps blood sugar spiking, energy crashing, and people perpetually hungry. Not because they lacked discipline, but because the system was engineered that way. Now, enter the latest shakeup. RFK Jr. has announced that the HHS intends to release a new, updated approach to national dietary guidance, signaling a major break from the old pyramid model. And whether you love them or hate them, this alone tells you something important. The old framework is no longer defensible. This new direction being discussed emphasizes whole foods over processed ones, prioritizing protein, healthy fats, and real ingredients you can actually recognize, while finally acknowledging that refined carbs and sugar shouldn't be the foundation of anyone's diet. It's less about food groups and commodities and more about how food functions in the human body. Less, eat 6 servings of grains, and more, stop eating food invented in a lab. Is it perfect? Probably not. but it's a massive admission that the previous advice failed and failed catastrophically. And here's the uncomfortable truth no one likes to say out loud. Bad nutrition policy doesn't just make people unhealthy, it makes them profitable. Sick people are lifelong customers. Chronic illness is a business model. And once you see that, the pyramid stops looking like a mistake and starts looking like a feature. Flipping it on its head isn't radical, it's overdue. And the real question isn't whether the guidance will change, it's whether people will finally stop outsourcing their health to institutions that have been wrong for decades. Because at some point, trust the science has to become question the incentives. So let's get excited about a new dawn, a new age. We got a whole new food pyramid. And I got to tell you, the folks are excited.
There it is. Holy moly. Yeah, baby! That's what I've been waiting for! Dear God, it's beautiful.
It's crazy to think back to how much the original pyramid was a core foundation to our health class. Like, we didn't get many health classes. There's 12 grades. 3 of them maybe had, 4 of them at most, maybe had a health class sewn in somewhere.
Like actual health too.
Yeah,
Like you
right.
actually learned about health.
Right. And this was a foundational piece of that.
And what's crazy is even before this, we moved away from the pyramid. Like at one point, it was like the circular plate with the dairy being like a cup on the side. Like at one point, we moved away from the pyramid to like a plate. And now we're back to the pyramid. Just
I must
reversed.
have missed that health class. I don't think
You've never seen the food pyramid in health class?
No, not the pyramid.
Oh, the plate.
Yeah.
Yeah, that changed.
Yeah.
That changed after we were out of school during Obama. They changed it to a plate.
Yeah, I was about to say that had to be a Michelle Obama attempt. Turns out it was.
Still reading off stone tablets. When they switched to that one.
It's crazy to learn how fats were demonized by the sugar industry, so we would maximize our sugar intake. But even that, like if you were to take a Mexican sugar cane, that is going to do nowhere near the harm our processed sugar at the grocery store is going to do to you. So like even pure ingredients that were taught to be bad, like my dad, I remember being a kid, like, why do you cut the fat off? You cut the fat off the steak because that fat is going right to you. Like you're just going to wear it. You ready to wear it? Like whatever fat you eat, you're going to wear it. That's why my dad is not the secretary of the HHS. Because then you learn it's like, oh man, I could have just been eating spoonfuls of like real pure fat and it would have been way better for me than Taco Bell.
Well, let's be honest. We knew for a while Taco Bell wasn't
okay,
the answer.
Doug had to do it. Captain Obvious. No, I agree, Doug. You make a good point. But also, can we just acknowledge how many Americans and their regular daily intake, it's 100% processed?
Yeah, I can imagine it's a majority of them.
And it is one of those, like getting dog food. My parents think, well, because now I'm just hyper fixated on all of it. But why are you looking? It's a dog. It's like, yeah, but she doesn't need hydroxypoxidoxy in her kibble. Like
Say that 5 times fast.
No, thank you.
so
it's one of these like it's a CVS receipt of ingredients that I know none of them. It doesn't even seem like English. You could catch it in Africa. Hydroxyboxy, and you're like, should I be eating that? Turns out I didn't even know because mixed with corn syrup, shit slaps every time.
Fucking nails it, man. I love that stuff. You know, it's bad when they try to justify it going from Giant Eagle sized receipts to CVS receipts. Still pretty long.
It is.
Still
it is
pretty long.
Yeah, no, and the problem is that's becoming, well, you're going to see a huge trend shift here. And as long as people want minimal, if not one ingredient products, that's going to become the standard. And that kind of should be the theme of where we're at. Guys, this isn't a sign of the times like the big fat orange man president that eats McDonald's on a regular diet. He's not the reason this happened. And RFK Jr. really isn't the reason either.
No.
It's because we are demanding it. Yes. It's once we start One, it's educating the public so we're aware of it. But then once you become aware of it, compelling, like, vote with your views, vote with your dollars, you can actually compel action. That sounds bad. You can just compel action.
Oh, we got there.
Actually, if you vote with your views and spend and use your views and spend your money with intention. So the more you keep buying easy White Castle sliders that just sit in your freezer, and I get home late at night after the studio and it's just super easy to throw those. Dude, I was clearing through those boxes. And then I saw it. I was like, you look like you cleared through one of those boxes. Maybe you should stop.
At least you, oh man.
That's a rare. White Castle sliders. They're frozen sliders that you just throw in the microwave.
Oh, Alex loves those.
Yeah, they're too easy. 40 seconds, and I've got
40 seconds?
And I got 2 little cheeseburgers.
Are they even warm after 40 seconds?
Yeah.
Dude, piping.
Yeah.
Seriously?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It's dude, hear me. None of it's real.
Okay.
The bread, plastic. The meat, Soylent Green. The cheese, probably also plastic, and a little bit of Soylent Green, which is people. Soylent Green is people. Did I spoil that 80s movie for you?
No. I actually didn't think it was the full slider. I thought it was just the patty.
Yeah, no, it's a full slider. You put it at two, pack of 2, 40 seconds. I got 2 little sliders. Yeah. Well, even just the one pack. Your little slider.
All right.
Then the box is gone. You're like, should I have done that?
Where's that on the pyramid?
Yeah, I don't know. RFK Jr., what do we got? Not on here. I somehow missed it.
This is a dumb question, but is this still considered a pyramid if it's upside down?
Yeah, what is that shape, Doug?
Oh my God, I can't think of that term.
Ricky, do you know what an upside down pyramid is? The answer is no. Cowboys don't get out that far.
I just was curious. So I'm like, it's called a pyramid. It must still be a pyramid, right?
I'm
Upside down pyramid.
I think it is considered probably still a pyramid because it is.
An upside down pyramid is generally called an inverted pyramid.
All right. Yeah, well, you don't want to have that.
Well, but it's inverted because a pyramid is right side up.
Didn't they do that in South Park?
Oh, thank you, William.
Wait, are you saying in South Park they also flipped the pyramid?
Yeah, it was for like Crohn's or something.
It was for gluten.
Gluten, yeah.
Yes, it was for gluten.
Yeah.
Doug's,
I think I've seen this before. Enough, of course, South Park.
Upside down.
What?
Sir, the pyramid is upside down.
I told him.
Turn the pyramid upside down. You can't be serious. That would put butter and fat at the top of the damn food pyramid. This is not FDA approved. It's dinner time on the East Coast in 10 minutes. Now do it.
Oh no! Don't the seed.
We've got a match. Nutrition is stabilizing. We've got a well-balanced vaccine, sir.
Oh no!
I'm actually so glad you had that up because I was like I heard this somewhere. I know I heard this somewhere. Why do I know what this is from?
Will, I literally walked in and I go, Alex, I know you're not going to want to hear this, but South Park did it.
Well, it's ridiculous how often we have topics like this where you can legitimately reference South Park, Simpsons, Family Guy. And
but the most is South Park.
The most is South
admittedly.
Park. And I'm like, as you were bringing this topic up, I'm like, why have I heard this before? Am I like losing my mind? Like maybe I'm so South Park rotted, I just think it's going to be there. And yeah, okay. I mean, kudos to you. RFK did not think of this.
Yeah, you're right. He didn't think of this. He didn't think of it. He was more thinking about how it is a health crisis, about how anti-Semitic America has gotten. But somebody whispered in his ear, "Do a damn thing," and this is what he did.
Work centers on protein and healthy fats, vegetables, fruits, and whole grains, and you can see
it's
the
getting
food
worse.
pyramid. It's upside down. A lot of you will say. It was actually upside down before, and we just righted it. For the first time, the dietary guidelines directly address ultra-processed foods and set firm sugar limits in federal procurement, driving a significant
it's that he literally. Oh, I gotta let him finish the clip.
And added sugar in school meals. I want to thank President Trump for his leadership.
Thank him.
The partners committed to ensuring that federal food dollars support real food and better health. Thank you.
He literally says,
Vegetables, fruits, and
Hey.
whole grains. And you can see the food pyramid. It's upside down, a lot of you will say. It was actually
you just have Hopper and he's like, where's Elle? And he comes out, it's the upside down.
Come on. That would have been great. People would have so been pissed, but it would have been,
Man.
I would have had a laugh.
Doug,
FRK.
Ricky, what do you think of the whole upside down food pyramid? My sticker.
I love it. I love it. A healthy diet is good. I feel like if your kid is obese, is child abuse. I feel like you should be doing like being some programming like for parenting or something. Your kid should not be obese. You can be a little chubby, but not obese. You know what I mean?
Ricky's onto something.
But
what do you guys think about making
I was never
it
allowed to
a
have fast
child?
food when I just came to America. I was never allowed to have fast food. So my stepmom would sneak it in. You know, when I'm with her, we have McDonald's because she grew up in America. You know what I mean? So that's her thing. She wanted a McDonald's burger. I would have one, but once I'm at home, come from school, my dad's like, "Yo, go cook some mackerel and rice or do something." And yeah, but it should be child abuse.
So I was about to say, do we agree that that should be a child abuse charge if you allow your kid to get to a certain level of body fat?
Yeah, but Alex, like you and I both played Pee-wee football, and we were the kids that had to have the X on our helmet, meaning we were too heavy to carry the ball. And should our parents have been in jail because we were too heavy to carry a football? I mean, America needs linemen. All right. How else are you going to get them? America needs linemen. All right. And the Cleveland Browns need linemen.
I just wish Doug has so many nothing burgers to serve here that he's jumping out of his skin just to be like, again, remember that one time I did a thing with you?
Hey.
And it's one of those, Doug, that was such a moot
I was
point.
a fat
Hold
kid. I don't think my parents
mean,
should have gone to jail because I was fat. I'm not that fat anymore. I'm very average American size, sir. So should my parents have gone to jail because I was a fat child? People
I didn't
grow
say
out of
jail.
that, you know?
I very much wish we could show a photo of Doug because Doug's like he internally knows how absurd he's being with this point. Like, Doug, you know how much time of ours you're wasting with a literal nothing burger because you know you weren't obese. You were one of the heavier people in your class, on your football team. Cool. Good for you. Want a star? You know that your parent, like, this is not an actual point to be made in a theoretical debate or consideration here because you know you weren't anywhere near to dangerous. And to even further that point, the fact that you didn't hold any bad habits, that you struggled to shake, you just reached puberty? You just went to college? This isn't the problem, Doug. The problem that you know we're talking about and that you know doesn't apply at all to your little pee-wee football game that nobody was watching is that we're talking about severely obese kids that should genuinely be called. And so, oh, wow.
You don't think
the
you
fun
were
of,
fat
like,
as a kid, Alex? Like, you don't think eating McDonald's all the time like we did? I did as
you?
a kid. Like,
Yeah, it
eating
shows,
better
'cause
as
you
I
can
got
only
older.
eat with
working
plastic
out,
forks and
doing
throwaway
activities.
plates.
No, doing activities, working out, doing school sports, and all that, especially wrestling, having to keep at a weight. Like, that was the stuff that made me lose weight and keep at a weight.
You want to know what I
And
think about at that
work,
time?
I was a very fat child, man. I was fat.
You know
Even
what?
my doctor told me I was
Here's
obese.
what I love about this. I always looked at you as chubbier, but now I'm going to look at you as literally the fattest piece of shit to ever exist.
I was.
But man, you saved yourself, but I will let you know there will be a day 6 months from now on a golf course that you will regret letting the record show that you were the fattest piece of shit to exist. And I'm never going to let you escape it because I'm doubling down. Doug, you know, deep down, you're full of shit right now. And I also want to further double down on the point I'm coming up with, which is, Doug, if you're going to continue to reference that period in our life, something that I carry that like, this is the biggest I've ever been. And when I look back at those times where we really thought we were fat and it's like, oh, fuck, that was nothing. That was nothing. And when you went, I was the fat kid wrestling, you were watching other people wrestle. You were in the wrestling photo, but you weren't wrestling. But let me remind you of that period when we were. I am haunted by the fact that a 7th grader was berated and guilted into being 160 pounds. That's how bullshit your point is, Doug.
I was
that
180.
in a competitive sport deemed heavy, 160 pounds, Doug, same age, same height span. There's kids that are 350 pounds. That's the dialogue here. Stop wasting our time and derailing us from real dialogue. 160 pound 7th grader is a bullshit conversation.
You seem to be the one that derailed us here, man.
Because you're not letting it go.
But so to go off your point, if that is the case, because I don't think it's a bad, I guess, parameter.
Yeah,
set
it's
for
something
kids.
worth considering.
At what age does the parameter start? And again, what
Bingo.
size? You know what I mean?
Okay,
Like, it's like a
okay.
young
So
kid.
something I said I was getting into
Would this be a
before
grade school
Doug dove in again was, Doug, why I'm so frustrated with this bullshit you're pulling right here is because it's cheating a very productive conversation from getting into the questions we're trying to theoretically get into. So in the realm of theoretical education, trying to the Socratic method, asking questions and bouncing ideas off of each other, this is where it starts. Where do you draw that line?
Yeah.
I would say I would want to draw that line at a BMI. That at a certain point, if you're under the age of 18 with a BMI that's over 40, we got a problem.
Well, I guess that was my thing too. It's like, at what age would you consider starting the BMI? Because again, off Dog's point, like we're peewee kids. Like, are you going to start at 4th grade, 5th grade? But you saying it under 18, it's okay. Then when the kid's say off at school and he's doing PE, again, if the kid's like in preschool, no kid's that big, that large at that age for it to be.
Do we believe you were there? You were there. You were there watching me and Kyle Graham get an X on our helmet while you didn't. And I guess Big Tub over there was getting it too. But let me ask you, did we look like the Rizzler compared to everybody else?
No.
Yeah, exactly. That's how bullshit his point is.
So the Rizzler was a great comparison. No,
Thank you.
I don't see.
But that's what I want to get at is whatever that BMI line, the Rizzler is, that should be our consideration.
Now, would you
my
that
line
by,
is when
the Rizzler. Would you consider the Rizzler be too much? Because I don't even view him as being too much.
I think he's towing a line.
Sure, towing a line, but I guess like your BMI example at like 40%, it's like I agree.
That's absurd, right?
Right. No, that is absurd. But again, it'd be one of those things by ages and up to 18, right? So like at 8, it'd be
it should be a scale because
right, exactly.
because we would agree
like
a 13-year-old because again, Doug, like the inflammatory absurdity of your point. The fact that a 13-year-old start getting pudgy to then turn into like I'm trying to think of a name that isn't local because I'm not trying to call out people that but it's just like to turn into Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
There's plenty of the Truckley, a good friend of ours. Right. That was a chubby kid. He's literally a skeleton that we know. Really? Take someone like Travis Kelce. If somebody looked at you and said, yeah, Travis Kelce when he was 14 was real pudgy, not only would it not surprise you, you'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. That's kind of how this thing called puberty works. Yeah. We all pack it on and then we either outgrow it or stay a short Italian.
But we should be worried at a young age because you don't know where you're going to go. You could grow.
So we should throw your dumb mom in
under
handcuffs.
18, we should be worried about
So your
BMI.
point is totally devoid and we're throwing your parents in handcuffs.
Well, your parents shouldn't go to jail. Your parents shouldn't go to jail.
Hey, it's Doug's claim.
They should get like some parenting class. Or
I agree. It should be like a probationary thing.
Like
some guidance or something.
Yes.
Or something like
so mandatory educate that's something that happens plenty of times in juvenile court. Sometimes it's not only punishing the juvenile himself, but also the parents who are also culpable or liable in the situation. So it should be an in tandem thing. Send Doug to fat camp while we send Martha to education.
Now, my next question would be, since puberty is a big part of it, where you see a lot of individuals hit that, whether it be a growth spur or just hormones cause their bodies to either A, gain weight or lose weight. do you think it's fair then to set the parameters that we've kind of discussed pre-puberty?
I would here's what
I mean.
Your point raised a great one. The way I would envision trying to create a process like this, it would be, how do I describe those? Like, they're graphs where based on your height and weight, you're at this percentile.
Right.
It should be at this age and, height. This is where you should be. And if you get into the gray zone, like, and I think it should be a BMI consideration. I don't know what that science would look like, but where the BMI is fat beyond what's necessity for puberty and just youthful growth.
Now, let me ask another question, because I agree with that. Who would be the ones measuring?
Yeah, well, and again, thank you. And as much as I love Ricky, raised a great point to allow us to springboard some consideration here. But it always comes back to the same problem, which is who's going to do that? The state, which is the entity we trust the least.
Your local, what's children's doctor? What is that? Podiatrist?
Yeah, your pediatrician.
Wait, aren't we bringing back the president's physical fitness test? Didn't I see?
We're
something
also doing
about that?
Hunger Games with a male and female from every state.
Well, that'll keep them thin and fit. Wouldn't it?
Rizzler's just like, I'm the Black Panther.
It starts emoting. So that's from my thing. It's, would it be the pediatrician, or would it be a state-appointed pediatrician or something of that nature? Because I can't imagine the schools would be doing it. I can't imagine you'd have someone in the school, like a PE teacher, wouldn't be doing this.
But the dangerous part about that is, look how compromised pediatricians can get once money and agendas get involved. They're happy to pump your kids full of puberty. But yes, thank you.
That's the thing too. Is at what point then are you prescribing these kids weight loss medication, and they haven't even hit puberty yet? And it's a bunch of factors. And again, we don't have the answers. We're just
but that's why I didn't even put it on a kid. I put it on the parent.
No, I agree. It comes back. You know what I mean? The kid's gonna eat what the kid wants to eat. I ate so many gushers.
Yeah, and when it gets to a point where the kid is having like adult consequences, as in like asthma and getting diabetes very young and stuff of that sort, that's when you have to be like, yo, let's look in here. That's what I'm talking about, like obesity. When it started having like effects on the kid, like he can't sleep at night, he have to sleep with a mask on at that young age, it's kind of wild.
Like if a kid is prescribed sleep apnea and he's definitely overweight,
maybe we should make him run before we just get in the pool and swim a few laps before we start giving you medication and sleep masks.
When you're that big, you don't even need to run. You can just get on.
Wait, what's that big? Doug big or
no? Wait,
thank you. That's why it's so infuriating.
My cousin was a twig and he had sleep apnea. That affects.
But again, that's different.
That's not. Doug Will moved on from sleep apnea and was talking about large humans.
I'm just saying, large.
When you get to that big. Sorry, I derailed you.
No, you're fine. But like, there is a name of a kid we went to high school with who obviously
it only got bigger.
I'm not going to. It's not even that one. It's a different name, and it's. I know that individual hit puberty and lost a ton of weight, so it's like they kind of hit that aspect. So it's just one of those, like, when they're that young. I'm saying Rizzler age, where you could tell the kid has not hit puberty yet. And you're just kind of looking at him thinking, how often is he going to Costco? It does raise some questions. But again, then I look at his dad. I'm like, his dad's a big dude. Like, is it really genetics? And also that's kind of taken into effect.
If a kid's sitting there and sounding like,
exactly.
Right.
That's
well, and again, Ricky's onto something. Like, is it our place, a couple of 30-year-olds, to be trashing this young kid who's just having fun on the internet? Who are we to talk about the Rizzler? But Ricky raises a great point where we're supposed to be directing our attention and efforts is that father. Like, bro, you're big and you're exploiting. Yeah, it makes your kid look cute and cuddly like a teddy bear, but you're exploiting the unhealthy nature of your kid's lifestyle. Ricky, it took me a minute to click back over to getting you back on the screen because I was looking up what's the youngest age the FDA is allowing folks to use Ozempic. While Ozempic itself is FDA approved for adults 18 and older for type 2 diabetes, its active ingredient, semaglutide, is also in Wegovy, which is approved for weight management in children and adolescents aged 12 and older, with obesity making 12 the youngest approved age for similar semaglutide treatments. Though Ozempic is sometimes used off-label in younger teens, doctors carefully consider risks for younger patients, and studies are ongoing for even younger children.
I've heard recently, too, they're studying microdosing these like GLP-1 stuff, which may even lead to them going even lower than 12, which is absurd if it's for weight loss. Like, this was originally meant for diabetes, which could help a lot of people. But I've heard they're studying the microdosing amount now, like the littler amounts, which that could open it up then to them lowering that.
What were you saying, Will?
It's just crazy to think a kid that young can get that large to where a doctor is genuinely recommending Ozempic.
Or type 2. Like type 2, that means you weren't born with diabetes, you developed it. You out-ate diabetes at that age. It's one thing for a 30, 40-year-old who's, libido's down, testosterone's down, they're not moving much, and they're in their just rigmarole hamster routine of going to work and coming home and sleeping, and they're eating to the wee hours of the evening. You're 12.
Right.
Like, what?
And then the parents, it comes back to
go outside. And boy, is that going to be a perfect segue to the next topic. But it's like the fact that for us, we were moving even when we were just playing. To them, moving is like it's
an activity.
Yeah, you have to outwardly do
your exercise. Going from your room to the kitchen.
Yeah.
To ruin the progress you made going down.
Imagine that's the only thing you got.
And and for us, like as kids, we were in so many sports. Like you had winter, spring, fall, winter. We kept ourselves active, and kids do that generally today. That hasn't changed, but I do think there's a bigger conversation to where, them mandating the what was it, fitness program? What's it called?
Presidential fitness.
Right. So
we all did it.
We're now, but it never felt like it was mandated for us back then. It just felt like it was part of the curriculum.
It was part of
like
PE.
the original pyramid.
Yeah.
And now the pyramid's flipped and they have to re-emphasize doing that.
Right.
So,
So this is a great opportunity to kind of transition then into our next topic. So last thing I want to address, as reported by Fox News, this is kind of what the claims of the new pyramid are going to be. You're looking at 1 to 1.5 grams or grams per kilogram of body weight per day of protein, dairy, and healthy fats. The fact that was one of our minor side pieces to grain. So going to the far right, encouraging whole grains is great. 2 to 4 servings per day of whole grains. The fact that still remains, it's like, well, we didn't get too far off the beaten path because whole grain is good for you. The sad part is the way we've failed education. Just know the ominous loaf of bread in the fridge is associated with that section of the food pyramid. Most of it's going to be white bread. Most of it's going to be honey bread and all that stuff. Whole grain is the boring bread you don't love. So even where they're like, yeah, get plenty of this, that's to help you poop. And that's why it isn't always so fun to eat. So that beautiful white loaf of bread you've got isn't checking this box either. That's part of, I got a bagel, but I got a bagel. Yeah, sorry, homie. Your bagel is not it.
Unless you put some egg and bacon on it.
Then RFK's like, you're getting ripped.
Then you're getting something out of it.
You're getting ripped.
Who doesn't like a bacon, egg, and cheese?
But I think the creme de la creme that was a constant before and remains after, we need to highlight the fruits and vegetables. 3 servings per day of vegetables, 2 servings per day of fruit. Honestly, the thing that saved me is replacing my sugar addiction with fruits. As a single guy, it's tough keeping fruits in the fridge that just don't spoil by the end of the week or next week. It does. It kicks my ass every time I try to get to it, and you're like, and it's all moldy again. Grapes.
You can't be putting stuff that don't belong in the fridge. Wherever you buy it in the store, that's where you leave it.
Well, that's a great way. That's a good rule to live by.
Oh my God.
But grapes, okay. I'm a 30-year-old guy by myself.
Bro, you're
I
supposed to
don't need
smack.
a pig's trough of grapes, but they're served in one giant
Giant
Macy's
truffle.
bag. So
But-
I get this giant bag of
Yeah.
grapes. I feel like I'm doing work. Like for 2 weeks, I'm like, holy shit.
I'm sweating eating grapes.
Yeah, just, oh my God. And then by
All
the
right.
end of it, it's a 3/4 full bag, moldy. I'm like, son of a bitch, you got me again.
It's not even a single person thing because me and Nile have the same problem. So we stop getting fruit when we're not. If you don't have the taste for it, we ain't getting it. When you have the taste for it, you're gonna smash on that bad boy right when you get in the car. No wash off, nothing. When you get home,
We don't wash
you're
off
just gonna get
nothing.
it. So you get through it, it's done. Just get it when you crave it. Stop getting fruit just to get it. Just say I'm getting it.
And to
healthy.
piggyback off of that, the other thing that's been a saving grace is the recent adaptation is inserting raisins because they're never going bad. I was never a raisins guy. Never. Dude, I can buy here.
I
Okay.
love raisins.
All right.
Halloween, I loved getting raisins on Halloween. I was that kid.
In the spirit of dominating the food pyramid and getting on the right track. Because Doug really wanted to emphasize, I also had an X on the helmet. Fat kid cheat code. I've been dipping my finger in Nutella and then like grabbing 6 raisins. Dude, beats the hell out of Raisinets. No guilt. None of that Nestle fake chocolate. That's pureed nuts on my dried grapes. I'm healthy.
I am never eating the Nutella at your house.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Well, I think the second you'd open it, you'd go,
Looks like
I'm not
someone
eating this.
fingered the hell out of this thing. Gave it the 2-finger combo all freaking night. I'm good.
I'm good.
I'll bring my own jar of Nutella. What was that one tip though? You told me. I think it was Truckley's mom.
Yes.
That was a great tip you said.
The greatest rule to live by in dominating your grocery store experience. If you want to leave successfully, only shop around the perimeter of the grocery store. So the second you go into the middle, those aisles, you're talking processed. The only thing that might get me to stray momentarily is olive oil, spices, condiments, coffee. Beyond that, stay away because everything in there is processed. And
It's a good tip.
it's the tip, dude.
Good tip.
Because
I've been
here's what
living
I'll
by it
tell
ever
you.
since you told me.
As a fat kid, a whole new relationship to the grocery store, a whole new world. When I go skipping around the outside and I'm like, all of this is my oyster. The world's my, all of this can come home with me with no guilt. And I do end up taking it all home with me.
Well, that's good news for me because I get lost in those aisles. If I have to start going down them, I can't find a damn thing. I can't find anything.
Here's what I've noticed as a single male that's now, tending to the home by myself. You go to those middle aisles and there's one constant. It's one or the other. It's either a white woman or just a woman. We'll just say a woman, the woman of the home that knows what the hell she's doing. And it is bing, bong, here, there. And then the only other person you're running into in that grocery aisle is the male, the patriarch of the family, lost.
Oh, I'm Googling
Lost.
stuff.
We're poking each other's carts like, you know where you are? I don't have a fucking clue. And we're just aimless. I mean, I know where I'm at because I'm the woman and the man in my house. These guys, dude, lost.
Dude, I don't ask for directions going to people's houses, but I ask people in the grocery store, hey, where is this shit?
See, Nilette left for a week, and I went down the middle aisle, and I've been on this experiment for a month now to make the perfect rib tips, Asian rib tips. And I've been
Have you gotten there? Are you close?
No.
Dude's coming.
No.
He doesn't know where to go. He said he's on like experimenting.
Experiment. The first one was too much oyster oil. The second one was just too much regular powder spice. But we're gonna get there. So the middle aisle is good sometimes. You just gotta have good intentions.
That's right. Well, and it is funny. I'll skip all the hubbaloo. I'm looking for raisins. And because it's a whole story. I saw David Njoku at the grocery store when I'm looking for it. It was awesome. But I'm looking and I'm like, all right, I need to finally find these damn raisins. Can't find them to save my life. Every aisle.
Yeah.
So I go, all right, I'm going to Meijer's website. Where are your raisins? Raisins could be aisle 12, 14, 16, 17. Dope. Thanks for that. So
a whole aisle too.
Had to do all of them. And as Murphy's Law would have it, it's always the last one. So you're going and it's like, first one, nope. Second one, nope. Third one, nope. Fourth one, nope. All right. It's either in this next aisle or I'm doing this all again. And it was in the last aisle. It was great. It was right there. Now, I was down in that aisle earlier that day looking for raisins, but it manifested because I found it on Meijer's website. What were you going to say, Ricky?
Was it next to the nuts?
It was. But
yep, it
wasn't in the nut aisle.
Together.
Here's the killer. It was, you want it? Okay, here's the catch. You would have thought it was in the nut aisle. That is also what Meijer suggested. It could be in the nut aisle, which is where I would have thought. However, it was near the nuts in the child's lunch aisle. Yeah. So it was by baby food and goldfish crackers.
That's why I don't eat raisins. And because I don't like them.
Well, but you also
agree,
have thumbed up Nutella to really send it over the edge.
Yeah, I think that's my biggest takeaway from this whole topic is you finger
never
the
eat
ever-living
Nutella.
hell out of your Nutella jar. That's the biggest takeaway I took from all this.
Doug, you never had Nutella and you were the fattest kid in your youth.
Oh, I love Nutella.
How did
I
that
also
work?
didn't realize that, like, in Europe, Nutella is their peanut butter because we grew up with peanut butter more than Nutella. I had Nutella, but then I went to Europe and it's like everything is Nutella there. Everything.
That's kind of weird. I don't know about
Kind of weird.
I don't know about that. A Nutella and jelly sandwich. I don't know if I'm down for that.
I agree with you, Will.
I don't
Keep
know
that
if I'm
in
down for
Europe.
that one.
So let me ask you guys, are you excited for the new food pyramid? Ricky, what are your rapping thoughts?
It ain't gonna work. It's all about education, about food. If you don't tell the people or help them out the system in some way or give them better place to shop or better food to buy, it's just like a billboard you're driving down the street and never calling that guy for help.
He is right. It is all in the execution, and we're gonna really have to. But it's willpower. It's education, and can you control yourself? And we've gotten to a point in America where folks don't have that ability. So, Will, give me your rapid thoughts.
Not even, but the food deserts. Sorry, Will, but there's so many food deserts in America. It's not even willpower. It's like,
yeah,
I don't have access to the good shit.
Great point, Ricky. That's something we really, maybe because as in like us here in the studio, we're so removed from that experience. It's not like like even Parma, a local city nearby, they don't have a food desert. You know what I mean? Like that's something that is very unique to very, very rural areas. And it's easy to forget about that because that's such an important consideration that the majority of America is suffering with, but they don't have the loudest voice in our society. So it just goes entirely neglected and unaddressed.
And it kind of bited in the ass what I said earlier about educating people. But if you're not helping people, supplying them with shit, like, what do you want to do?
But it also comes back to why we're finally seeing the health secretary finally addressing this. We are demanding it. It's one of those, education kind of already has been happening. And the public is aware that my McNuggets are just pink paste. And like none of this is real. It's catching up to them. And now we're educated. And now we're demanding and acting on and demanding for a better future. You have any rapid thoughts on the whole thing?
I don't got really much to add. I think we kind of touched all the food groups pretty accurately. Just don't stop exercising. I guess that's
that's more important than the whole diet.
Is if you're going to be a young kid and you're going to want to eat a lot, make sure you're in at least 2 sports.
Right.
That are like seasonal for like summer, fall, spring, and then winter.
Yeah, you're right.
If smart doing wrestling, I couldn't do that.
Yeah, for a period. So at the end of the day, Flipping the food pyramid on its head isn't about trends, politics, or contrarianism. It's about accountability. For decades, the public was told to obey a set of nutritional rules that clearly failed. And when the consequences showed up in our bodies, the blame was shifted back on individuals, Doug, instead of the institutions that wrote the guidelines. What we're watching now is not some bold new health revolution. It's a quiet admission of guilt, an acknowledgement that the advice was wrong, that the incentives were misaligned, and that the costs that were paid out was obesity, chronic disease, and a population disconnected from its own biological reality. You don't overhaul something that worked. You overhaul something that broke people. And here's the part that matters most. Your health is the one thing the system cannot afford for you to take seriously. A healthy, informed population doesn't need constant intervention, medication, or processed substitutes masquerading as food. It needs real ingredients, real accountability, and the courage to unlearn what was sold as settled science. So if there's one takeaway from all of this, it's simple. Stop letting bureaucrats, corporations, and outdated charts tell you how to fuel your body. Question the incentives, read the labels, follow the outcomes, not the marketing. Because the moment people start eating like their health actually matters is the moment the entire house of cards starts to wobble. And that's why flipping the pyramid isn't dangerous. Blindly trusting it was. So now let's get to a topic here that I think, I'm really excited for. I think there's a lot to unpack with it, and hopefully we can kind of keep it dense. We'll play it by ear. I'll get your guys' thoughts if we move forward with down the wiki hole or not. It'll be a fun one, but we could gauge it on time. Here, I'd like to kick it then to Johnster Truck. Yeah, it's like Monster Truck, but Johnster Truck. Sorry, I couldn't remember how to pronounce it. I do think Mama loved him. No, actually, I think you're gonna see this guy and be like, no, he's too clean for a Johnster Truck. So
yeah, legally change it.
Exactly. I'm gonna let our main man Johnster Truck introduce our final topic here.
The last divide of the future is going to be who can read and critically think and who cannot. Let me explain. What every educator on this app is talking about, and what every educator in the field is noticing, is a dramatic decline in basic critical reasoning skills and basic literacy skills among students. This is particularly pronounced among high school age students, where they're engaging with more complex material and can't grasp basic concepts or manage basic memory about those concepts. And what this is creating is a generation entering the workforce without basic comprehension skills that is going to make it very hard for them to keep and maintain any form of employment. On the inverse of this, we're seeing kids in more affluent families being not only pulled out of the public school system and sent to things like Montessori schools, but being pulled away from technology, not given access to anything more than, say, a TV or a video game station until they're a teenager. No tablets, no phones, things like that. And what they're doing to fill their time instead is the normal childhood stuff of playing outside, reading a book, coloring sheets, all of these things that seem like play but are actually building soft skills that make someone much better able to navigate the world around them as they get older. The gap is not going to be who can use AI and who cannot. The gap is not going to be who is an all-star on the ACT with a full ride and who is not. The gap is going to be who can reason in a basic way and who cannot. And those that cannot will probably be left behind.
Womp womp.
I'm sorry, but you're looking. I'm not to burn down the whole building here, but we were raised in a generation where I really do believe we were conquering racism. And because of that, we were getting too close to each other. And we were coming together as a community. So they had to reinstill that back into us. I believe in this generation, the privilege was not race, but it was a two-parent household that cared about you. Yeah. And having that structure, somebody that demanded more of you, that cared when you did well, but also when you fell short, and didn't come down with an iron fist as much as guidance and equipping you with the tools to conquer the future, that's a privilege. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend I wasn't privileged. But if we're going to sit here and say it had anything to do with melanin, no, my mom and my dad kicked ass. And in fact, my mom and my dad kicked your mom and dad's ass. That's why you're upset. Don't be upset at the way I look or glow. Be upset with the fact that your mom and dad dropped the ball. Now it's shifting. It's not shifting away from that point. I still think the privilege is going to be that strong household that's invested in beating out the rest. That is the beauty of our capitalistic society. Like, that's our motive. That's the carrot. You are motivated in being the strongest household because the fruits will show themselves. And to think now it isn't, get them typing more. Do you guys remember this? Where, and this is for you Gen Zers and everybody else, this is going to be totally a shock to you. You guys did this? We had to take a keyboard and take a cut piece of cardboard that blocked over our hands, and they would scold us taking tests where I had to blindly type without looking at it. Any person that walks in my office as I'm typing them a letter, or, hey, we got somebody at the counter that pissed you, write me a letter. And it's like, you'll see I don't use that at all. I'm a texter now. And with that, I need to look at what I'm doing. But it is funny that, like, in that old age, it was, no, I want to go play kickball. It's like, get in here and type. Now we got the opposite problem. It's like, get out there and kick a damn ball.
Yeah.
And it's hilarious that a educating professional will say coloring book is a higher education than an iPad, which in many ways, again, come at me in the comments. We're looking for you. But, like, yeah, I get the other side of it too. If you're doing a math lesson on your iPad, that's definitely going to increase your educational prowess more than coloring in Tinkerbell. But the bigger point to be made about where we're at as a society is that what is conquering all those math tests on your iPad if you don't have the soft skills of critical reading and improvised thinking? Like, I'm sorry, I do believe there is a significant portion of my generation, and even more so younger than me, that couldn't do my job. As in, I'm walking in and I have no idea what's going to be on fire today. And I got to be creative. And what allowed me to usurp the guy that had the job before me is he just ran around going, hey, there's a problem. There's a problem. Well, guess what made me invaluable beyond the others? He was like, I got some ideas on how to fix this thing. It's like, well, shit, we got one guy with ideas. It's like, turns out, yeah, the whole building, one guy's got ideas. That's going to be our future, where it's who is the kid that developed these weird, quirky skills, where really it's concrete, pivotal skills that were exercised and developed in quirky ways.
Well, it's skills you learn outside the classroom while translating it to inside the classroom. We talked about
interesting.
We talked about Toy Story 4 or 5, and the plot line is against like an iPad, because that's what has the kid's main attention now. And instead, I just want the kid to go outside and basically question if he should go sit on the green generator thing with his buddies and decide if that's a good idea or not. And one of them try it out, just for him to be like, all right, don't do that again, and deal with, like, the neighborhood bully and how to kind of navigate those sorts of things. Because those are things that, you don't learn in the classroom looking at an iPad. Remember we had, what Doug, you would definitely know the name of this thing. What was that board? The calibrated board we had to do?
Smart board?
Right. And you had to go up in front of the class and actually do the entire math equation start to finish in front of everybody. And you could tell within, like, the first drawing if the kid was smart enough to kind of get it or not, but also kind of work through not just basic mathematician skills, right? But then also have the group projects and be able to work congruently with other people in a productive way rather than sitting back and just letting it get done for you way.
Well, dude, I feel like it's more too, we grew up in the age where we grew up with technology, so we have been able to adapt to all the different stuff as they've come along. These younger kids are getting now the full fruit of our growth, which is an iPad or iPhone, because they're the simplest to kind of learn and use, where you can just kind of click the picture for every single thing. And so kids can pick up a phone and just know this is the app that shows me videos like YouTube, oh, this is the thing I need to click. but they've lost the whole problem solving. Like, remember, we used to have to install stuff. We used to have to like actually deal with the problems of technology. And that's where like my job today, one of my favorite parts is like QA, you know, like testing software and figuring out an issue. I love that part of my job. But kids today, it's, oh, I recognize that logo. Click. You know?
Well, the one thing I do want to say though, Doug, is I think what made us better equipped to live with these things isn't that we grew up with them. That's a part of it. But I think it's more so, it isn't that we because we grew up with them, we could adapt to them. What I think it was similar to boomers, but the boomers were too old to where it got ahead of them and it outpaced them. For us, I believe it isn't that we grew up with it as much as it supplemented our life versus it is their life.
Yes.
You get what I mean? It's one thing to go all the way up to 8th grade with chalkboards and dry erase markers. I mean, literally kids, let me tell you, one of my 3rd grade tasks, you know, everybody's got a different job each week. And one day for a week, one kid's got to go out to the recess yard and pat all the chalk erasers. That was a job. They'd sit there and tap the chalk erasers. Builds character.
Usually that was for the troublemakers. That was for the troublemakers.
Well, so again, up until 8th grade, now in 8th grade, think about what 8th grade was. I'm sitting there, the iPhone gets invented. I'm sitting there and, you know, we're seeing newer adaptations while we're still living in part of the 90s world.
Nice.
And then, did you hear the math classes? Not all the classes, not the health, not the gym, not the science and English. And the math classes are getting smart boards. And man, was it ooh, ah, ooh. And I am saving it for a different episode. I do really wish I could bring it into today's episode just to supplement the point. But I found a video where somebody has taken their security camera right over a restaurant and they changed it to a different UV. So it's like a black and white. And you guys probably don't know this. Do you know how your phone is able to Face ID unlock itself? Did you know your phone, the whole time you're looking at it, is just taking pictures?
Cool.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is when you click over to this other UV, dude, it looks insane. The way these people are all just walking around, like the way they're holding their phone. And it's almost like a giant light flash. And again, describing it is doing it no justice. I really wish I had it to supplement my point, because there are little things this is doing to us. Like, we've talked in the past about how your eye, when we talk about movies, how your eye can pick the difference between CGI and like realism. We said how like, yes, uncanny valley in many ways. So I do think like there's something in your subconscious back behind your eyes that isn't picking up or is it at least interfacing with this medium differently than a chalkboard and a dry erase, especially a dry erase board. I think chalkboards are antiquated. It doesn't come out clean. It's hard to read. But a dry erase board delivers on the same thing. And I think, again, that uncanny valley, there's something added to it to where now the fact that as a debate coach, I walk into this building and every single room that we had ever been in, rooms that you would never think should have this, theater room, everybody has a smart board. That's it. And that's all they know. That's going to be a real problem. And the kid that goes home and is like, I'm going to try to tie 2 sticks together. Did you realize he's going to be your boss?
Yeah. Yeah. Nice. Nice. It feels like we were in the generation where nothing was outdated.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, because it just, yes. Because it really,
we were able to adapt and apply every technological change on the fly, and now it's all congruent.
Right.
And that's because I think it's because we grew up with technology, every iteration. So we had.
But how's that different than a kid today? He is also growing up with technology.
Though, it's just accelerated the point where it's not like we grew up with DOS and then SQL, like all these different things where now it's like you click a button of a picture of an app that you can recognize, even if you don't even know what app you want to click, but you just whereas it used to be, you had to really find what you wanted.
There's a point you're making that I don't even think you're not articulating it. I think you're trying to, and I think this is a point you don't even realize you're making, which is not only because, again, it comes back to, I think the bigger point is, it isn't that we grew up with it. A 8-year-old on Fortnite right now also grew up with it. It's that it wasn't our life. It supplemented our life.
Right.
To further enhance Doug's point, though, what I do think he really raises is that we helped build it.
Yes.
Like I wasn't an engineer building that computer, but I was an interface user, a part of its development. And so when, I'm in this building of boomers and they go, do you guys remember the floppy disk? And Jesus, Doug. And then like six years younger than me, they don't have a clue what we're talking about. That's how big the divide is. Yeah. Whereas I can go, really don't know how the science of how the information got on that really flimsy ribbon. But I've put a floppy disk in a computer before, and I've broken the shit out of those before and played with the innards of a floppy disk. So I've been there. Then I've also been in a world where it wasn't just internet. It was, Mom, can you get off the phone? Or my mom going, get off the internet. I got a phone call I got to make, because it was dial-up. And
borrowing a jump drive for someone.
To go from a Palm Pilot to the first cell phone to an iPhone. It's like being a part of that development is so much different than just iPhone 17. Right. Like I came into this life at iPhone 12 and I'm now at iPhone 17 and they're all the same.
Well, I think it's to go off Doug's point that I think you were touching on too. There's just a sort of sanitized view of what technology is for the kids growing up with it now, whereas for us we were adapting to all these new tools.
Yeah.
Like
and there's an enhanced knowledge, because the point that really resonated with me, Doug, as somebody in the creative space that had to learn all of these at a different chapter of my life, it was interesting getting prepared for today's episode. I'm working with DaVinci Resolve, which alongside Adobe is one of the top video editor programs that you could use. And I'm just using DaVinci, and I was having a hiccup with it to where the quickest, again, I'm trying to get prepared in a 2-hour window for today's episode. I just got to get this ripped. The quickest thing for me right now is to pull up iMovie, an even older antiquated platform through Apple, get this ripped real quick. As I'm doing that, and I'm thinking to myself, I haven't touched this in years, and thinking about DaVinci, the thing that had a little bit of a romanticism to DaVinci for me was it reminded me of the video software I used when I was a kid that was made by Sony. Sony Vegas software hasn't been made in 20 years. And it was the greatest. And it's like, man, I'm so happy I found this thing that was just like it. That was not even a soft skill. That was a skill I developed at 11 or 12. Back to, we did a whole episode talking about LimeWire and ripping videos, and that was a real trial and error thing for a 13-year-old and a laptop. But coming full circle, and then I'll toss it to you, Doug, the piece that Doug said that really brought his point to fruition for me is having all these different programs I've used and tips and tricks and fails and new ways to achieve these things more effectively. It blew my mind when 3 years ago, Apple, I could pull a photo up, and if it's a picture of you, hold my finger on that Coke bottle, and now I have a PNG, no background around that bottle. A PNG is a type of file where it's I just have it's the frame of the bottle. It's not a square with white filling in the background.
It's literally
Clear.
the bottle.
Literally the bottle. The fact that a kid can just hold their finger and send it, like airdrop it to their computer, versus I've lived in ages where I've had to hunt for it online. Then, okay, I could get a little bit more creative. Later, I can make them. But then I got to click like inch by inch, pixel by pixel, cutting this thing out. Now an AI just goes, you want the Coke bottle? This thing? And you're like, yeah, airdrop that shit to my computer. So I developed skills that don't even exist anymore. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It isn't that like the skill of knowing how to navigate a computer software. Yeah, that still exists. It's the trial and error of creating a PNG in this way. That'll never be a problem again. But when I get faced with a new opportunity where I have to get creative again, that's just second nature to me. I've walked this road before.
In the toolbox now.
Yes. Yes.
Well, Alex, that's what I was going to say is like, you're saying you were struggling using this new tool. Well, dude, Google has developed to be the most reliable tool. Like, you can Google how to anything for any modern thing. And whereas back in the day, we used to have to figure this out, man. Like, we'd play around trying to figure it out. You were like, I felt comfortable going back to my old school iMovie. It's because you learned how to figure that out. You knew it. Whereas now it's like, people don't want to even learn how to figure shit out. And if you don't, that's fine. You can Google and kind of then go from there. You know, like you've kind of lost that let's play around, let's learn, let's teach ourselves type of thing. It can literally be how to this. Like, and even in my job, I do a bunch of complicated Excel formulas. If I ever get stuck, I Google it. I mean, Google has the answers for so much stuff now.
And that's why the social value, the monetary value is going to be found in critical thinking. So before we conclude this whole topic, I think we'll have to probably skip down the wiki hole. But to conclude the whole topic, I do have one more clip, and it's just to propose a philosophical consideration that I'd like to kind of do a round table on and get everybody's thoughts on. So maybe after this, Ricky, we'll start with you. I'm curious what your guys' thoughts are. This is Asmongold. So again, you know it's going to be a poignant philosophical doctrine. I mean, this guy never misses. Asmongold, I think, has his finger on the pulse more than most streamers. But this is his strategy for voting in America moving forward. And I think the cruel reality is more of us are going to be willing to adopt it than we're willing to admit.
Can't get a high school diploma or a GED, you can't vote. 99% of the people that don't have a high school diploma and they can't vote, you wouldn't want this person making a decision for any aspect of your life.
Here's the deal. We should never allow the government to draw the line of who can and who can't vote.
Well, the problem is the line is under the age of drinking. You know, so like you can't drink till you're 21. You could vote at 18. You get a car at 16. There's like
go to war at 18.
Right. There's these consistent lines, these age barriers. But for some of them, like, why is it based on age? Why can't it be based on merit? For instance,
right.
You get what I mean? So drinking, I guess drinking wasn't the best example. If you want to wait till, if you want to keep that at 21, but like to drive, it isn't necessarily just 16. And I think that's kind of like a false setting they pretense for it, because you got to go through the classes first. So they were smart enough to at least be like, we got to be educated enough to do this first, but you don't need to be educated to vote. You just have to be an age.
Right. I think even our military requires you to have a GED or high school diploma. So like at 18, you can serve your country.
To be in the military,
you can vote with nothing.
Right. So Ricky, what do you think?
I feel like it's good, but I would say more for the military aspect and stuff like that. It makes sense, but voting, like, where you gonna walk around with it and like, here is it.
What do you mean?
like your diploma at the
vote?
Yeah, you know what I mean? Or when are you gonna do it? Like at the DMV, so they stamp your
that is the curious piece. Is it going to be just like a little emblem on your ID? It's like, I was born in 1993. I am an organ donor and I can vote.
No, what it would be is, so like when you go to you have to have a legal ID of some sort in order to vote. So in order to get that ID,
Not in
Like,
Somalia.
it should
Minnesota.
Getting an ID should mean you should be able to vote. That's just my thought. It should be that simple, but hey, what do I know?
Yeah, I'm with it. I mean,
But again, the tough part is you really never want to allow the state here's okay, getting all philosophical on you. You never want to allow the state to draw the line on who can and who can't vote. And in the theory of that, the goal should be your goal as an individual or a populace should be to educate the masses as much as possible. So the majority of the voters or the average voter is an educated voter. But that's great in a vacuum for a theoretical world, but living in this reality when the vast majority of the folks are retarded, like, do you let them draw a line finally? And then you cut out 60% of those people that were eating chalk.
it's kind of a shame that they weren't the one clapping the chalk off.
I know, they would have loved it. like a seal.
Like a classic seal. Who's a hungry seal? I think it's important to be educated to vote, so I think it is a good consideration to have. I just don't know how. I mean, the state's already implemented the age of 18. I don't know how they would rightfully implement the education, because they'd probably give it the lowest bar possible.
I agree.
Unfortunately,
you're right.
In my opinion, the lowest bar possible should be being able to read the ballot, but now we have it in multiple different languages. So apparently the lowest bar is lower than we think.
Yeah.
Dude, it is amazing to me how many people on the phone at work just emboldened telling me, no, you got to help me. I don't even have a 3rd grade reading level. I'm like, you said that comfortably? Like, that was, you were okay saying that.
Dude, it's already amazing enough for me when I'm like typing without looking, and they're like, "What are you doing?"
This magic.
I'm just like typing. What are you talking about? So
because again, they've never typed; they've texted.
The bar is low. The bar is,
and it's getting lower.
Yeah,
hence, that's the only thing strengthening this dialogue or these considerations.
Well, here, let me pose a question then. I brought up the drinking age at 21. So, do you raise the voting age to 21, or no? It's not. Raise it to 21, but you could vote at 18 if you're high school educated.
If you're high school educated or fighting in the army,
Right.
you can't take a kid to go fight for God's chosen people and then not let him vote.
Again, Alex,
he's got to be able to vote against AIPAC if he's going to go fight for AIPAC.
But then again, Alex, if you're going to be able to join the military, you have to have a GED or a high school diploma. So, like, again, they're already covered.
So
bingo, they're in.
It's just a hypothetical. I'm not saying
it's an interesting consideration because I'm a purist at heart, which means I stray away from allowing the government to draw any lines at all. But it's one of those, I'm going to refrain from even addressing any of the, like, I think it was like the 16th Amendment where it was like, now voting got a lot more emotional.
19th.
The 19th.
Yes.
Yep. I've been seeing some pretty strong arguments. I've entertained none of them.
Oh no, we don't entertain them here.
Zero.
We just
Zero.
see them.
I've seen them.
So I guess that'd be why I'd consider raising it to 21, because I guess you could go into the voting booth after you had a beer finally. You can celebrate it that way. Or you could graduate high school.
Yes.
You know, like you could pick your poison, I guess.
At the same time, the sad part is once people just start failing math, they're like, it's not the math. It's not the kid. It's the math's racist. Math is racist. And it's like, wait, what? No, you can't do that.
No, now you got to wait till 21.
Yeah, exactly. So it's one of those, like, I'm willing to play that game insofar as it's held to the same standard 2 + 2 always has been.
I was going to say the most on-racist thing in the world is math. It doesn't change. It's the same for every race in this country.
That to Asiago
it doesn't
Cortez.
change.
Yeah, Doug, come on, man. That's pretty hateful.
Numbers
right
don't
there.
change.
Doug just got called one of the billionaires by Bernie Sanders. You're a billionaire. You're a sympathizer. I think we should close this thing out. Doug, do you have any wrapping thoughts on critical thinking and reading skills being the privilege of the future?
I think technology, like knowing technology is a simple thing at this point. So like as much as we think, oh, wow, this kid already knows how to work an iPad. It's like, congratulations, you know how to work the simplest thing on earth. Let's see what you can do later on.
Ricky, I got to ask, any thoughts on this whole futuristic landscape?
I think it's important because shit always going to fall apart, or you always going to want to figure something out on your own, or just do something on your own. Like people, I have homies that call me smart, and I'm the dumbest person in the world just because I know how to edit something on my phone or do a little something outside of TikTok or outside of the apps. I know I do little things on computer, but I'm not smart. It's just the basic. I learned from freaking, you were saying you do Da Vinci and went back to Apple. I started from Windows Movie Maker. You know what I mean?
That was great.
So therefore it's not like it's the same thing, just they're adding little tweaks to it over and over, but nothing really changes. It's literally the same formula, maybe a different format, different fonts, different display, but it's literally the same sauce behind most of the ingredient.
You're right. Will, rapping thoughts.
I think in order to get better at critical thinking, you just have to be willing to challenge yourself and let others challenge you and challenge them back in order to get there. But I think in today's generation, it's easier to just kind of fall into the black void of your phone than actually do that.
You're right. And what's crazy is the challenge would build that muscle.
And character.
But even, and character. It would develop character as well. But the fact that a lot of the basic foundation of critical thinking stems from soft skills.
Right.
Like literally go play double dutch and
Introduce yourself to someone.
Play tag. Here's the exercise. There is nothing an iPad can give you that knocking on the door and getting yelled at by your neighbor's mom. No, he can't play today. And you're like, fine, bitch. What? I can. So I'm just knocking on the door. If you haven't lived the experience of having to rally the neighborhood for capture the flag, you don't know.
You haven't
character building. You know, so you're right. But it's like the funniest part is I'm not even asking you to climb the Everest of social training. Basic. And for us, it was play. The fact that play is now the exercise of the future. That's absurd. So let's close this bad boy out. The class divide of the future isn't about money, politics, ideology, or even class or race. It's about who can read, critically think, and process information, and who can't. And that gap is quietly becoming the most dangerous one of all. At the end of the day, the class divide of the future isn't measured in dollars, diplomas, or political influence. It's measured in that ability to think, read, and reason. While schools and parents obsess over test scores, social media likes, and screen time metrics, the real gap is quietly widening. Kids who can process information, question narratives, and apply logic will have a massive advantage over those who can't. And make no mistake, this isn't abstract. Technology and overparenting have created a generation comfortable with distraction, reliant on shortcuts, and starved for independent thought. Coloring books, outdoor play, and the ability to sit with boredom aren't quaint. They are the foundations of cognitive resilience and critical thinking. The privilege of the future will belong not to the wealthiest households, but to the households that teach kids how to engage their minds, question the world around them, and survive in a society increasingly designed to exploit ignorance. If we fail to address this quietly and escalating this divide, the consequences will be more severe than any economic recession, or political upheaval. We will have a society that cannot think, cannot reason, and cannot defend itself against manipulation. Low key, that's probably exactly what they want. And that is the real inequality of our time. So let me ask you guys, Ricky, I'm going to bring you in. You know, it's getting 9:43. Do we want to play down the wiki hole or save it for another episode?
I'm game.
I'm game.
You see this?
Bring some energy.
This I'm going to shock you tonight. That's how you're going to be looking.
I got to tell you.
Ricky, you look like Cowboy Carter.
Yeah, you
Hey,
do.
thank you. I don't know who Cowboy Carter is, but hey, buddy, you come from a long way.
It was Beyonce. He's
It's a
being
Beyonce
mean.
album.
You know what? Let's go along. Let's go.
All right. For those of you that don't know, the game Down the Wiki Hole is played like this. I start at a wiki page of a famous person, could be dead or alive, and I go 5 pages away from there by clicking those little blue links that you find within the narrative there, and I try to find the most obscure, get as far off the beaten path as I can. We start 5 slides away, and we work our way back. The studio is going to try to guess who the person is. Each time, we're going to do a round through. Each time, the player, the contestant, can either guess who the person is or take a yes or no question. And then the players are going to play off of each other, trying to build with each other's clues. So, getting right into it, we're going to go all the way to our first slide, starting with Will. The consideration, again, down the wiki hole, starting with slide 1. Okay. We're starting at plumber.
Just immediately, this isn't my question, but is it Mario?
All right. Could be fictional, could be real. You know what? I think I've tried to stay in like real people.
No, I want
But
you to, please,
yes,
God.
real people.
Okay. Are they male?
No.
Okay.
Doug, yes or no question or a guess?
Is this person alive or dead? Or sorry. Sorry. It's a yes or no. Is this person alive?
Yes.
Good question.
Okay.
Good question.
We lost Ricky. Dang. That happened. He literally was like, yeah, I'm game.
Yeah, I'm down. And then he leaves.
Gone.
Give him 2.
I think we should go another lap and then we'll come back and Ricky can
or
do
just
2.
cancel and wait.
So here we're at. You said they are female.
They're female and they're
alive. Okay. Do you have a yes or no question or a guess?
Okay. I want to.
Oh, wait. I need to go to the next slide.
Wait,
right?
Then we're missing a question. We were down 1 question though, because
he's going to do
Ricky
2.
Ricky will miss plumber.
So we're going to the next.
Oh, Ricky's back. Ricky's back.
I didn't see it.
Ricky, ask a yes or no question or take a guess.
Okay, we're at the point.
You're
They're
muted.
female and they are alive.
You're muted.
Female and alive. Female and alive.
And the first thing is plumber.
You could ask
All right.
ethnicity or color.
Yeah. I always ask, are they black or white? That's my question.
But like that's
Well, you
kind
gotta
of
ask
vague.
yes or no
Are they black? Are they black?
Yes.
Okay.
Ooh, female.
All right, now we're going to the second slide. Now we're only 4 slides away from the person themselves, or 4 wiki pages away. Tradesperson. Tradesperson.
Is this
coming
person
from plumbers?
I guess famous is a bit too vague. Is this person a celebrity?
Yes, but also remember a common thread that will always follow the game. It's always going to be somebody everybody should know.
Yeah, it's
the
always
audience,
gonna be-
you guys.
So can I rephrase that question
Sure.
then?
I'll give you a second shot.
Is this person I want to keep it like near celebrity when I'm trying to find a way to make it less vague because obviously they're all known. Is this person? Guys, give me help wording this.
Ask
question.
actor. Actor, is that a word you're looking
Right.
for?
I would ask, it's like, try to narrow a type of celebrity if they are
Okay,
a
is this person an actress?
No.
Oh,
Good
true,
questions, though.
actress, because we know it's a woman.
Yes. Yes. Can't be Wanda Sykes now.
Not Whoopi.
Well, she's a political commentator.
Oh, right.
Douglas, a yes or no question or a guess?
So we know this woman is not an actress. Is she an athlete?
Also no.
Oh, okay.
But that
Is that a
helps
bad
you.
question? I
No,
thought
it's
that
a
was
good. You're
good.
asking
You're
better
asking-
questions,
you're
Doug. You're
I'm
helping
impressed.
narrow the frame here. You know what it's not, which helps illuminate what it could be. So, Ricky,
It's
you're
not
muted
an
again.
actress
We're coming
or
to you.
celebrity. She's black and alive.
Yeah. So.
And she.
Yes or no question or a guess.
Does this person? Hold on. So someone will know, just off T. But it's not an actress or an athlete.
He doesn't look like he knows.
Look at you. Got cowboy
Is
cards.
this person
What's that woman's
American?
Oh yeah.
Okay, we got an American. It's one of us.
Hey, Will.
Who got one of us?
What is that woman's name that is black and he's always posting videos of Candace? Whatever, like, could it be her? I'm just asking.
Bro's got a working brain.
Oh,
Bro's got a working brain.
Go to this next slide.
Let's go to the next slide because Candace Owens does strike me as a plumber. Getting now,
you never know where it's going.
You never
down
know.
the
She
line.
gets in the
works the
pipes.
trades and she's blue collar. She's out here grinding. Nobody's got more calluses than Candace.
Is this
Ricky, what was your question again?
Is she American?
American.
Oh yeah.
Is this person involved in politics?
And
yes.
And you hear it says, "Oh yeah," like.
He's picturing Candace in his head.
Right, Doug? She's involved in politics, alive and American.
Should I ask it? Will?
No, keep asking questions. We have plenty more time before we can hammer it down.
All right.
But it's a good.
But you're
direction
beating
to go
around
in.
the right bush,
It's
so
a
maybe
good
keep
direction to
beating
go in.
around that bush.
All right,
Ask if this person is out for vengeance.
Is it really? Because I don't know what else to ask, so I'll ask that. Will.
Don't ask that.
Don't ask that.
Don't ask that.
So what should I ask, Will? Well, yeah.
Maybe try to narrow how she's involved in like Doug.
Ask
Get
if she's
creative.
wait.
Is this person?
I'm beating myself.
Wait. Before.
Okay, Will,
Ask
go
if
ahead, bro. All right.
Actually, no. Fuck that. You answer the goddamn question. You're an
Is
adult.
this person in Congress? Because you said to figure out their political.
Right there, you go.
There we
Yeah,
go.
I said yes because my critical why I will always be the boss of a Doug is because I have the soft skills of
answer
being
yes
able
or
to
no?
grow by my no.
Okay.
Maybe she's a
Ricky,
podcaster.
ask if
So she's not in podcast. She's not in politics.
Maybe she's a podcaster. Who knows?
Not in Congress.
Maybe she's a commentator. Who knows?
Maybe she's attractive. Maybe she's not. So, Ricky, I need a yes or no question or a guess.
Ask if she's on the right.
I got you. But let's so she's not a politician. But okay.
Not a
Is she a conservative? Is she on the right?
Wait. She's not in Congress.
Yeah, I get. Oh, so hold on.
She's in politics.
Okay.
She's in politics, but she's not in Congress, which is how we know. See that line? Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not crazy, Ricky.
I have to jump in because you'd see this person and you would not say she isn't a politician. We said this person is in politics.
Bro. Okay.
Doug's Will's on a smart thread.
Will, what's the thread you on? Wheel me on it.
I was just ask what side she leans. Just give us.
Okay, yeah.
direction.
So I did.
You
Is she
were on the right
conservative?
track, Ricky.
What was Ricky's question?
Is she conservative? Is she on the right?
No.
Okay.
Oh, fuck me. Sorry.
What'd he say? Okay. Politics.
All right, wait. I got to get to slide number 2, and then we're one away from the slide itself.
Slide.
All right, South Side Chicago.
It's Michelle Obama.
Just ask it, Will. Just do it. It's getting there.
Are there
anyway.
accusations this individual is a man?
Oh yeah.
All right, Doug.
Wait, what? Wait, what? Was there
It's
even-
Michelle Obama, bro.
I asked the question and he's like, what?
Your
Yeah.
question was, is this person a man? We know she's a female.
No. Hear the question. Shut up,
Bro.
So ask a real question,
Did
Will.
I not? Dude,
And
I gave you the layup
Doug.
that Ricky's now going to jump in the air and
You
slam dunk.
mumbled.
Get
All
it, Doug.
Going to Ricky. Ricky, take a guess.
It's Michelle Obama, bro.
It's Michelle Obama, bro.
And Will could have just said that instead of mumbling.
No, he asked the
Doug is the
question,
worst.
Doug. Does he get mistaken for a man? Like, people make joke on this.
You had me in the first half.
Yeah, it looked like he was actually
And
getting
your-
the hang of it for
and
once.
your questions, actually, the Candace Owens thing put me on a track of like, all right, is this person a commentator or is she actually involved in politics? And
Yeah.
it kind of worked that way.
Southside
And then
Chicago.
Ricky said the Obama thing, and I thought, all right, I'm going to ask a question.
I'm
that's
gonna do a
A,
bit, make it
I'm
fun.
going to make it bit and funny, and then
And there's a lot of bits.
You could have just said it though. Why make a bit?
Because what if I was
Save
wrong?
us a go.
No, dude. What if I was wrong?
Okay, so just say it, and then you save
Dude,
me
you
and
are
Ricky from
such
having to
a
ask.
grown
Oh
31-year-old
my
child.
God.
Yes.
Just ask
Bro.
it. Though. Why'd you have
Doug,
to pass it
Doug,
along?
Because
Doug,
I want
Doug.
Back up, Will.
Was
Doug,
there
no,
ever-
no,
Shut
Doug,
the
Doug,
fuck
Doug,
up,
Doug,
bitch.
Doug.
Do you see
You
it?
could not
Doug.
even say that 2 feet from me. You know exactly what would happen. You are not 2 feet from me,
Doug.
Mr.
Exactly,
Technicolor.
exactly.
If you were
See, the
right
crazy
there,
thing
I would
is-
stand up and you would have backed off and said that.
The crazy
Shut
thing is,
up. I
when-
gave a bit. It was a fun bit. And now
We
it's-
all had
Because-
fun. And it was a wasted question.
No, it was
Your
not.
question was probably the most important
Doug,
question.
I just
Doug,
want
you're
to.
missing the ball, Doug, because right when he asked that question, and I saw South Side of Chicago, there's so many bits about her being a man. So I was like, it has to be.
Yeah, but
Michelle
that was
Obama. It
wasted. He
helped.
could have just
It
said
didn't
it.
wait.
and
It helped
given
No,
us-
Doug. It isn't
That's
that
what
it's
helped
wasted.
me.
Admit that it's that you didn't have
That's
the
what helped
cognitive
me
ability to
figure it out.
compute what he said.
I didn't
in
hear
time
what
to
he
give an
said. He
answer.
mumbled.
I did not mumble.
Yeah.
He heard it. He heard it.
Yeah, he heard it because
And the
you're
people
mumbling
listening
into a
heard
mic.
it.
It's hard to hear
Heard it.
mumbling from over here.
Another successful WikiLeaks.
It nails it every day. Doug is the worst part about this game, and that's what makes it entertaining.
And Doug led us on the best.
Yeah.
initial starting point.
Yeah.
It
That
felt
was
like
the
he
thing.
actually
I
got
get so
it.
mad. It's like he brought up Candace. I was like, all right, let's start leaning into that. And then it was all right. She's on the left. I started thinking. Then I saw Chicago. I thought Obama. I was
So
like, all right,
just
maybe.
say it then.
But if,
Here
what
we
if I
are.
was wrong?
Then we had
No.
2 more chances, Will.
Dude, will you
But
just
why would he have to
up and
say
lower
it
your
when he
voice?
could just
Wait,
hint
Wait, hold on.
something?
Doug, no, you
Doug,
failed.
Why would he have to
You're-
say it when he could just hint something to help us to make the two
Yes,
other
I know.
Wait,
guesses?
hold on.
One.
Wait,
We
no,
just won.
Doug,
it's a group project.
and even more so, if the question is this person sometimes accused online to be a man? And the answer is no. That is
But
the
I
same
didn't
as
hear
asking
him.
about
All
is
I
this
heard
Michelle Obama?
Is this person a man? And the answer to that previous question was no. That's all I heard from Will. I couldn't hear his actual question.
Right. So, Doug, again, critical thinking, soft skills that you lack. Wouldn't it make sense that if I gave a different answer right now, that it's probably the case that Will asked a different
Well, that's not
question?
the game.
No, it's that you don't have logic. There's literally no basic stream of logic. That being said, what a fun. There we go.
we
Ricky,
outside.
tell the
We
folks where you
outside.
can find you.
We outside next to your girl. I'm outside. I'm in a relationship. Just kidding.
What?
He's engaged.
He's
I was going to
engaged.
say, Ricky, are you engaged?
Very much so. It's just a state.
We're out here tolerating a Doug just for your entertainment. Guys, if we made you laugh, if we made you think, the best thing you can do to support this show is like this episode and be sure to hit the notification bell and subscription so you don't miss us moving forward. With that being said, we have our Rethink Actions, and Ricky and I, let me bring Ricky back on here. Ricky, we finally got our podcast coming out this week, so I've been sitting on it for quite a while. I had a lot of fun editing it. So we have a podcast episode, ironically, of the same vein of today's episode. We talk about teaching our children how to balance internet brain slop, and it's a great consideration and mental exercise. Ricky, you wanted to jump in?
I will be watching it live and reacting to my tipsy self that day because boy, Alex had a lot to edit. Boy, I was on one, man. He didn't say it to me, but I know he was like, this nigga wasting my time a little bit. But
Is this when he was
Hey,
in
no,
town?
we got a lot. I just had to do some carrying, but you know what? I'll tell you what, Ricky, you and I kind of felt that because I felt bad. I was like, I hope it didn't feel like I could care less. I had fun regardless. So I hope I didn't make him feel like
no,
that.
it was me, bro, because I was during the day doing the prepping and stuff, having a
He was
little
cooking
drink.
jerk chicken. Bro
and
was
then-
having some sips.
and then
But
I
what I
could-
will say is, Ricky, when you watch it, You can't tell. It actually is a lot more fun because I was also having a couple sips. So I felt when I went and watched, I was like, wow, it's a much better episode than I remember.
Shit I said in that has kind of been true at the end of 2025.
Exactly.
What day is that?
So Thursday. Look out for that episode coming out Thursday. Appreciate that. So we got all these different episodes, the podcast, the live show, the Sunday football review on top of the Sunday reaction show. If you're looking for one central place where you can find all of this, it's at our website at www.rethinktankpodcast.com. Remember, if you like this show, then someone else you know will too. So please share it because that's the best thing you can do to support what we're doing here. But otherwise, we'll catch you next week. Peace.